Mr. Houston here snuck out of his house to have affairs, and now he's gotten into something of a pickle. The woman he had an affair with, Ms. Herman, now says he is the father of her child. Mr. Houston and his wife are both in court today to refute those claims.
And the defendant duped you and was living a double life. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Houston, you claim that you are not the biological father of Ms. Herman's son and will clear your name when the results are read. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Herman, explain what you mean.
You know what they say. Do not play games with a woman who has an investi-gadget phase. It is going to end really badly for you and your double life lies. But hold on, because it gets even worse.
I had told Mr. Houston that I was pregnant. He said that he would be there for me and my child. After 2 doctor's appointments, he stopped showing up. So I got a little suspicious. So I got my investigation glasses on, and I found out via Facebook that he has a wife and children. And I have the evidence right here, Your Honor.
I'd like to see that. Jerome?
5 whole kids? He had 5 kids and was playing these sorts of games outside his home? That is insane. Little wonder he doesn't want this kid to be his. He could now potentially have 6. He better start praying that he isn't the father?
I met her as a gentleman. Before anything, before my father, before my dad, before my liar, before I'm a cheater, before I'm any of these things at all I got going on before I met her wasn't her business. You see what I'm saying? I wasn't curious about the extra stuff.
You know what? This kind of makes sense. His wife and his kids were not really her problem. They did not actually concern her. What they had was between them alone, not a third party, is what I would say if I was insane as Mr. Houston here. But hold on, it gets worse.
He did not.
Yana.
No, the answer is no. Don't let him lie to you. The answer is no. No, N-O. No.
The night that...
No.
Listen, how did you meet Mr. Houston?
I met him at a club. He was very charming and appealing at the time, buying me shots of Patron. That's an expensive drink. He also had a truck with rims on it.
Mr. Houston is a very clever man. He's obviously not going to take his new side chick back to his actual home. Instead, he had a very interesting plan, and that plan would shock you.
We were celebrating his marriage, I met her during the process. She seemed like she was out of her comfort zone, like she wasn't even supposed to be in this scene.
She wasn't.
Set. She wasn't supposed to be there, you know what I mean? So I approached her. I said, hey, how you doing,
No, he didn't. He didn't let her know that he was married with 5 whole children. That's probably the most important aspect of that equation, and he didn't let her know it at all. But let's get down to it. What happened next?
But I was okay with what was going on because I had plans on taking...
And which home is this?
I didn't take her to my home.
Oh.
But my buddy, he was...
When I found out I was pregnant, I told Cortez that I was pregnant, and he didn't say anything on the other line of that phone. He said, "Are you for real?"
That must have hurt like hell. Imagine discovering that you're pregnant around the same time you find out that your supposed baby father has a wife and 5 other kids. So what happened next? Let's find out.
I wound up leaving, going over there in my car. I went to her house, and once I got there, she always got it laid out. She would have candles here, candles there. She would have it smelling good, and she always didn't have no clothes. She always had this one little silk thing that hang tight on her butt.
Yes, it's too much. And the crazy thing is, Mr. Houston here is confessing to sneaking out of his home at night to meet with his mistress, and he is describing the scene with such happiness. But hold on, because he's about to say something even crazier.
Going through a divorce, things wasn't what she expected it to be.
Look at his eyebrow.
Maybe you didn't understand my question. Did your wife know you left the house to go sleep with another woman?
No, she did not.
Okay.
I
So
wouldn't have let her know that, Shiana.
Jerome?
Yes, Mr. Houston, she's here, and she's about to spill the beans on Mr. Houston and his apparently famous lying ways. At this point, everyone probably thinks he's the father of the child. But we'll see after Mrs. Houston has her say.
They were doing whatever it was. A message came in his phone and it said, when I have the baby, I want to move in with you. So I asked her what was her position and was she really pregnant by him? Was she sure it was his baby,
Wait, she was pregnant too? With her 6th kid? Mr. Houston could be the biggest dog to ever be on paternity court. He just said they were on the edge of divorce. How could they be on the edge of divorce if she was pregnant by him? This is so much. But there's only one way to see if Mr. Houston is the baby's father. Let's see what the DNA test results have to say.
Corey Herman. It has been determined by this court. Mr. Houston, you are not the father.
Yes! I ain't gotta talk to this man not no more.
So you just did all this.
I don't want to hear nothing else you got
know
to
what?
say.
It's
I'm
cool,
free.
you know?
Yep.
Ms. Garrett says that Mr. Boyer is definitely her child's father, but Mr. Boyer insists that he has no spiritual connection to this kid. Does a spiritual sense trump a DNA test? I guess we are about to find out.
You say there's no way the biological father of Garrett's baby. Her child is 2 years old, and you just learned of Naomi 2 months ago. So, Miss
Yes.
Garrett, tell us, what is going on?
Well, today, Your Honor, I'm here to prove to Mr. Boyer that he is the father.
Ms. Garrett has laid down the law. She's 100% sure that Mr. Boyer is her child's father, and she knows that she will get her child support whether he likes it or not. But let's learn more.
I mean, like, we exchanged numbers. We had inconsistent sex, which was amazing. I'm not going to sit here and fault to nobody. It was great. I'm going to keep it real. It was real good, Your Honor.
You all were working real hard at making a child because you weren't using protection.
No, we was not.
That's really sound logic. If you meet someone and you have unprotected sex for 31 days straight, there's a huge chance that they are going to get pregnant. And since they were presumably stuck together doing the do, there's also a pretty big chance the baby belongs to Mr. Boyer. But hold on, because Mr. Boyer has another theory.
It was about a month worth of it, but it would be only like on the weekends. Like, I can't even work for 31
Did
days.
you do it for one day?
Yeah.
You did it for one day?
It definitely
So
happened.
that's
It
all
definitely
it
was
takes.
unprotected.
We
but-
know that that's all it takes.
Right.
So you admit you were in this sexual relationship.
What does that even mean? And that's such a disrespectful way to talk to someone who might have had your baby. Mr. Boyer also thinks that since it was too easy for him, it would have been too easy for others too. And that logic makes sense. But it gets better, folks.
After our sexual relationship was over, I wound up dating another guy. Me and him was consistent then.
Oh.
Automatically thought it was the other gentleman's baby, so I did not.
So you started
Dating.
dating somebody new and you thought it was his child.
Right, Your Honor.
Wait, so Mr. Boyer knows that there's a chance. Wait a minute, because this story is sounding incoherent. If Mr. Boyer was actually the only guy Ms. Garrett saw during her conception period, then it would be unlikely for her to think the baby belonged to the other guy. Is there something she isn't telling us here? Let's see where this leads.
Yes, Your Honor, I blocked him on Facebook. I sure did because I wanted to continue my happy relationship.
When Naomi was an infant, she blocked me.
But isn't it ironic you blocked him on Facebook because he was saying, I might be the child's father and we need a DNA test, but now you're here saying that he is the father.
Wow, that's insane. She was willing to tell her child lies about her paternity forever just so she could keep her relationship together? Really? And when did Mr. Boyer finally learn that Naomi could be his daughter?
Same place she blocked me at, and told me like, oh well, you know, the other boy, you know, the test came back that he's not the dad, so you gotta be the dad. So I was like,
That is not how the
I
conversation
immediately had a
went, Your Honor.
flashback from Talladega Nights, Michael Clark Duncan part when he was like,
Things are starting to sound very weird. On one hand, we have Mr. Boyer who says this baby can't be his because he feels no spiritual connection to her, and Ms. Garrett who was trying to hide his baby from him in the first place. But it gets worse.
And so the DNA test revealed that the man that you were sure was Naomi's biological father was in fact not. You started to unblock Mr. Boyer because you were like, oh Lord, I done blocked out the real biological father.
Yes.
So now,
Did she really think that could ever work? Really? Any man faced with a baby after 2 years will naturally question the paternity of the kid. But somehow Ms. Garrett thinks that is unreasonable. Now for the million-dollar question. Is there any other possibility aside from Mr. Boyer?
was there any other possible biological father?
No.
Did you tell anybody else, now that I know this gentleman is not the biological father, it could be you? No other man?
No.
And so you knew it's not this guy, it's Mr. Boyer.
That's it. Case closed. It has to be Mr. Boyer then, right? Well, here's the thing about paternity court. Women lie, men lie, even kids lie. But do you know what never lies? The DNA test results. And here's what those test results say.
Mr. Boyer, you are not the father. He's not the father, Ms. Garrett.
And that's fine, Your Honor. And I can still move on and raise my daughter on my own like I've been doing.
Do you know who her father is?
Yes. But like I said, in beside the concession, there was no other guy.
Ms. Tisby says she was in love with Mr. Quaterman and she just wants him to be a man and take care of the child he has with her. Mr. Quaterman, on the other hand, says he will never do such a thing because the baby isn't his. Here's how that case began.
Mr. Quaterman, you say the plaintiff is delusional and is only trying to use you for money, and when the results reveal you are not her child's biological father, you want her out of your life for good.
Correct.
So, Mr. Quaterman, you say she's using you for your money?
Anytime they come around, it's about money. Yes, ma'am.
Explain.
They come around and they just simply ask for like different items or something like that. And from day one, I've been asking for a blood test.
Wait, so right from the beginning, Ms. Tisby knew that the baby could belong to another guy. That's why Mr. Quaterman thinks that she's just trying to pin this child on him for the money. But hold on, let's see where this case goes.
For relationship.
Yes, ma'am. Casual relationship.
I felt like we was in a relationship.
What gave you the indication that you thought you were in a relationship?
Because basically he was coming around the whole time. He even told me he loved me, so.
That sounds like a relationship. You
honestly,
love her, you
I mean,
come around all the time.
I have love for her, but not in love with her.
And that's what we like to call a technicality. Mr. Quaterman says he may have told her that he loved her, but that was because he had love for her, not because he was in love with her. If that sounds crazy to you, that's probably because it is. And it's about to get crazier, if you can believe it.
You told him, you admitted there was another guy. You told him that. Did you? So was there another guy?
No, I just said it because he hurting me. He cheating on me.
Oh, you just said that.
But I'm in the wrong.
What is Ms. Tisby doing with her mouth? Anyway, what she is saying does not sound coherent in the least. She says she told him that there was another possibility, but now she is saying she merely lied? That doesn't add up, and Mr. Quaterman agrees it doesn't add up, and it continues to make even less sense.
Yeah, I was with him. I was with the man. But
You just told her that you what?
after we broke up. We broke up and I
But you
got
told her
with
that it
somebody.
was a
That's
lie
how
and
when
said
I found out I
it
was
wasn't
pregnant.
another guy, right?
It wasn't.
I
We
want
lived
to
together.
Miss
one is
Tisby,
it?
wait, I need to understand.
Which one is it, yo?
Wait, I need to understand this.
Okay, that's starting to make some sense. The other guy was after she stopped dating Mr. Quaterman, and she insists that there is no chance that this other guy is her baby's daddy. But here is some really sad news that the court didn't know beforehand.
Jordan really was a twin.
Yeah, she a twin.
And there was another baby.
She was 7 days old. I had her and she passed away 7 days after I had her.
And she passed away. I'm sorry. Did you inform Mr. Quaterman that this had
My
happened?
mama called him because my mom and my cousin called him because I wasn't paying attention to nobody but my baby.
Yes.
I ain't have time for nobody but her.
It seems like Mr. Quaterman believes that the only reason he is here is because Ms. Tisby thinks that she can get some money from him. And now he insists that he's always wanted a blood test.
And they were saying that it was my child. I explained to her that it was supposed to be a possibility that it was another guy, whatever. I want a blood test, all this and that. Honestly, I'm not a bad person. You see what I'm saying? But I'm not going to pay or put up any type of money.
Wait a hot minute, 6 other kids? That is crazy. And this man isn't married. Now it looks like Ms. Tisby believes that since Mr. Quaterman has a history with having twins, Jordan could be his baby. That is horrible logic. And here is what Mr. Quaterman thinks.
Asking you for money.
Never.
Yes, ma'am.
Never asked you for no money.
Even throughout the whole time, though. You know what I'm saying? I'm not a social media guy. I'm not a big fan of the Instagram and all of those stuff like that. But she had posted some things online, asking, I guess Facebook about am I the father or not.
Wow. Okay, 2 huge red flags there. The first is that she posted this poll on Facebook like she wasn't actually sure he was the father and was trying to get her mind made up. She also didn't even have a regular picture of a man she says she loved. She had to use his mugshot.
But if you lay with somebody, you got to pay the cost. Y'all laid together, y'all stayed together, y'all been together. You could deny what you want to deny. But like I said, now when this baby come out to be yours.
Okay. I think we've heard enough. Ms. Tisby is 1,000,000% sure this is Mr. Quaterman's child, and Mr. Quaterman is very sure that's all a lie. The only way to get to the bottom of this is through the DNA test, and here is what that test says.
Mr. Quaterman, you are not the father.
What?
Huh.
Shantina. Who is the father?
Don't
Who
start
is
dancing.
the father?
Don't start clowning in
Yes,
here.
no, I ain't.
I asked you at least 3 times. Was there anyone else?
I hope it ain't that who I think. Oh, Lord Jesus.
Mr. Matthews says that he wants to be a good dad to Kiana, and that's why he wants to prove that he is her father. But the case isn't so straightforward, as Ms. Shaw thinks another man is Kiana's biological father.
Mr. Matthews, you say you've made mistakes. Tell me about that.
When I was younger, I made a lot of mistakes in my life, so I can understand that Ms. Thompson would want to act the way she does. When I tried to reach out to her on Facebook, she was kind of angry at me because of my episodes in my life.
It's a rare thing for a man to walk into paternity court and take responsibility for his actions this way. He admits that he just went into there and lied. Hopefully, he doesn't come into this court and lie as well. So what happened next?
Told this lie, what happened?
I looked at him, I turned around and I looked at his wife. And
Did somebody say wife?
Yeah, they both were married.
So you, and you had a husband?
yes.
Yes.
Oh, so you came to court with your wife?
Correct.
This is crazy. So they were both married and were cheating on their partners together. Do you know how insane that is? For two people to have partners and get to cheat on them to the extent that their cheating produced a kid? But it gets worse.
The way that he was with his other kids, he wasn't like that with me, so I wanted him to feel the way he felt about his other kids about me.
I did, but I wasn't really there either. You know, if I wasn't at work, I was ripping and running.
So, Ms. Shaw, I want to know from that point, you decided, I'm not even going to be bothered with trying to prove that he is
Right.
my daughter's biological father.
Okay, but at some point she was so convinced that Mr. Matthews was her daughter's biological father. When did that change? Because she's making the exact opposite claim today. What changed?
He was not the only man that I had slept with. Other
Were
men
you
besides
honest
my husband.
about that to Ms. Thompson, your daughter?
Yes, she's known all her life.
So why did you open the case against Mr. Matthews if you always knew that there was another possibility?
Because when my daughter would go to his house, most of the time she'd be there with his wife, kids. That's why she was crazy about his wife.
Wait, so she wasn't only cheating on her husband with Mr. Matthew? She was also cheating on him with other men? That's such a crazy betrayal of trust, but it gets worse if you can believe it.
Her husband at the time could have been my father. Mr. Brooks could have been my father, and Mr. Matthews. So I always knew that it could have
So
been.
you
it was a
grew
possibility.
up knowing that there were at least 3 possibilities of who could be your father.
Yeah.
Did you, in your mind, say, I would prefer this one or that one, I know this one better?
Seems like Mr. Matthews has a lot of experience lying, but his mother didn't agree with him at all. She made sure she told his wife about the possibility, and he just lied some more. What about the actual husband here? Did Kiana think of him as her father?
Felt like he didn't want to be in touch with me.
Did it ever lead you to seek out the other?
No.
Well, you knew your mother's husband.
No, I didn't know him.
You didn't
either.
really know him either.
No, we tried to make it work for the kids' sake because we had 2 sons together.
Well, I get that, but it just sounds like Ms. Thompson here was insulted by that comment. If you're cheating on your husband with at least 2 other men, you shouldn't be insulted if he thinks your baby isn't his. Let's continue.
So who was at the hospital when she was born?
He came up there.
Did.
He came
You
up there.
did?
Jody came up there.
Wait, who's
my
Jody?
husband? Well, Mr. Brooks.
So Mr. Brooks came,
Yeah,
Mr. Matthews came.
and my deceased husband, he came.
Oh, it was basically
This is such a circus. The fact that people can be so careless with the lives of their kids is just insanity. Right now, it even looks like they have unfinished business, and even the daughter in question knows it.
A lot of the times I feel like he only wanted to be around me to be around her.
Wait a minute. Oh, wait, whoa.
Because there's a lot of times where she's like, oh, I talked to Mr. Matthews today, and she would talk to him, and I hadn't talked to him for 10 years. So how can you talk to her, but you're not talking to me?
I tried.
They are even flirting in court. It looks like the only reason Mr. Matthews is even litigating this case is so that he can see Ms. Thompson. Anyway, it's time to see what the DNA test results say about that.
Mr. Brooks is not her father. What are you feeling in this moment, Miss Shaw?
That's what she needed. If he the father, he not gonna be there.
Mr. Matthews, you are not the father. I'm so sorry, Kiana.
Wow.
Neither
she-
gentleman is her biological father.
She'll always be mine no matter what.
Mr. Buckley says he is very sure that he isn't the father of the child that Miss Curtis says belongs to him. He insists that she's a cheater who slept with half the country, and there is no chance that her baby is his. Ms. Curtis, of course, denies all of that. Here is how it begins.
You say today's results mean everything. Explain.
Well, Your Honor, I grew up with a father. I know how important it is to have a father in your life. And Mr. Buckley says it's very important for our child to grow up with the father. And so with him being in and out of our life, and kicking us, not only me, but his son, out of his apartment.
That is a really touching story, and Mr. Buckley is already denying kicking her out of his house. But something must have happened here, right? She can't just be lying, right? I guess we'll see.
Allowed her to live in my apartment at that time. I was being nice to her. She got mad at me because I was with someone else. I didn't want a relationship with her. She told me she was gonna make my life a living hell while living in my apartment. And that's why I called my landlord. I was being nice to Mrs. Curtis.
Okay, it looks like this case is shaping up. Mr. Buckley believed that there was a chance the child was his, and that is why he let her stay in his house. But when she promised to make his life a living hell, he changed his mind, right?
I was in a relationship before, and we tried to conceive a child. We went to fertility specialists, and we were on medicine and kept up with ovulation dates and the whole nine, and it didn't happen. As soon as we separated, she ended up having 2 other children, and that happened in not only that relationship, but with the following relationship that I was in.
Oh, darling, that's not what he meant. Mr. Buckley clearly didn't mean he was the father. He meant he was ready to be a father to the child. But Ms. Curtis somehow took that as Mr. Buckley taking responsibility for the child, and it gets even more complicated here.
And his family.
Your Honor, she also told me she had sex with someone while she was pregnant. So why?
While I was pregnant is different than when I conceived.
Before he was conceived, you were with other people.
No, I wasn't. I worked 8-9 hours a day, and then I went over to your apartment.
That means you got plenty of other hours left.
From leaving work at 4:30 and being at your house by 5?
Wow, that is heavy. Ms. Curtis is so certain that there is no other possibility here, and why shouldn't she be? If she only slept with Mr. Buckley during the conception period, then he has to be the father, right? Here is how the birth went.
When I woke up and they wheeled me by the nursery to see him, Mr. Buckley was standing there with tears running down his face. That was the moment that I fell in love with Mr. Buckley. He'd been standing there since he came into the nursery until I got rode to my room about 2:30. That's a couple hours him standing there just looking at our beautiful son.
Buckley says he might have been emotional through the birth, but he still doesn't think he can have kids. He even says that was probably the reason why he was so emotional. Let's learn more about this crazy case.
Mine are at a constant battle. My heart wants him to be, but my mind knows better. What you see right there is my heart.
If your mind knew better, why did you sign the birth certificate?
Because of my heart.
Why'd you sign the acknowledgement of paternity? You want to talk about you have doubts that you couldn't have kids? I went through chemo and radiation. They told me all my eggs were fried, that I would never be a mother. But I'm a mother to a beautiful little boy.
So Mr. Buckley has 2 reasons for his doubt. First, he thinks that he cannot have children, and secondly, he believes that Ms. Curtis was simply too promiscuous at the time. Now let's hear from this witness.
This is my house, my back door, and this is Mrs. Curtis' front door. And as you can see, I can see everything. We were friends. We've been friends. I told her, I see you. When we found out she was pregnant, she had a boyfriend. He passed away. They were together. And mind you, there were other men.
Wow, it looks like Ms. Curtis didn't expect this at all. Her neighbor and her friend totally spilled the beans about all her extracurricular activities, and her excuses just couldn't hold any water. But hold on, it gets worse.
Been coming in and out of my house, but I was sleeping with those other men.
And there was no old boyfriend that was still lingering around?
We had stopped messing around before I even met Mr. Buckley. And he passed away.
That's not true, Your Honor. I was told stories about her being with him while we were together. She would go back to her apartment.
Well, like we always say in paternity court, women and men lie, but DNA tests, they never lie. There are a lot of accusations of lies here today, but the only way to get to the bottom of those accusations is by reading the DNA test results.
Mr. Buckley, you are not his father.
Ms. Rogers says her childhood friend got her pregnant, and now she wants him to step up and be the father. Mr. Stone, on the other hand, insists that Ms. Rogers is a whore who's even slept with some of his friends, so he cannot be the father of her kid. Here is how that crazy story begins.
Rogers, you say there's no doubt Mr. Stone is Christian's father.
Yes, Your Honor.
Explain.
I met him in elementary school with friends. I kind of moved away after a while. We was close friends, but we never kept in touch because we were so young. And one day, after some years of being apart, I was at my friend's house, or I was at her boyfriend's house, and we were...
That's crazy. These two were friends as children, and then they met up years later and slept together on the very first day they met. Nothing good starts with sleeping with someone on the first day you meet them, but it gets worse.
girl that he had talked to, but he stopped talking to her.
When I walked into that house, she was at one of my friends' house. And when I walked in, she was already hugged up with one of my friends.
I was not hooked up with nobody. When he walked in the door, I was sitting at the table.
On his lap.
I was not on nobody's lap. When he came in the door, I was sitting at the table. The friend that he was talking about was in the kitchen. I was not sitting on nobody's lap.
Well, what can you say? Mr. Rogers may be careless, but he's not that careless. He made sure that he had a condom on. If he really did have a condom on, then Ms. Rogers' case may not be as airtight as she thinks it is. Let's see.
Yes, we had a condom on. Yes, the first time we went to his house, yes, we did have a condom on. Not every time I had sex with him, we wore a condom. Not every time.
Did you have unprotected sex with Ms. Stone?
It was not one time.
And that was in the threesome.
It was not one time.
In the where?
And the threesome between me and her.
Hey, what are you gonna do? She was not in a relationship. It was just friends sleeping together. That's it. She was just sleeping with two friends without being in a committed relationship with them. That's it. And she was having threesomes on the side. What are you gonna do? Anyway, let's learn more.
Boy, during me and him having sex,
I heard that
we did not have sex until after I had stopped talking to him.
I heard it happened the day before, 3 days after, and then...
No. I never slept with the boy. I never slept on no boy's lap.
Wait, so during the whole time Mr. Stone was sleeping with Ms. Rogers, she was also having sex with his friend? Okay, this case is starting to look kind of crazy. But hold on, things are about to take an insane twist.
Sex, I did not sleep with nobody else. All these boys in his little friend group that he has, I've known a lot of them a very long time.
She told me you were in a relationship already.
I was in a relationship. I have just got out of a relationship. I was not with nobody when I was with him.
But were there any benefits with the other friends?
Well, looks like they were not just catching up based on what Mr. Stone heard. But at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter. What matters is if Mr. Stone was the only one she slept with during the period of conception. So let's get to the facts.
I went to the doctor to get my birth control shot because I know I'm having sex, so I'm like, I need to go because I don't want to have no more kids.
Anymore?
I have twins.
18 years old with 3 children?
Yes.
Okay.
I didn't want no more kids because I had just gotten accepted to college. Everything was looking up, so I was like, I wanted like...
18 years old with 3 kids? That is insane. Shouldn't you get birth control before you start sleeping with people and having threesomes all around? Anyway, what does Mr. Stone think about this?
My friends, they pulled up on me, and he said he had to go pick his girl up and her, which is her best friend. We get to them, we drop them off at the hospital. Imagine, I don't know what we doing. She haven't said nothing. Imagine, we did drop her off at the hospital. I did not know not one thing. We dropped them off and left.
Someone here has to be lying, right? It is either Mr. Stones is just telling tall tales, or Ms. Rogers is playing a really calculated game here. But if Mr. Stones is correct, why would she hide her pregnancy from the supposed father for so long? Let's find out if the days even add up.
Did you determine the baby was Mr. Stone's?
When that day I went to that ultrasound, I found out I was having a boy, and that lady told me when my baby was conceived.
Okay, so at your ultrasound, you got the date, the conception date.
Days don't even add up, Your Honor.
An entire month? That is a lot of sleeping together. And at some point, you need to accept that there are some consequences that come with this sort of behavior. Anyway, we have heard enough. What do the DNA test results say?
Mr. Stone, you are not the father.
I have sex with both of them.
With Mr. Morton?
And Mrs. Lemon.
And his girlfriend?
Yes, Your Honor. Threesome at the same time, separate relationship. If I don't want to have sex with her and I want to have sex with him, that's what happens.
The first time he had left was the first time me and her met. Throughout the whole time, even told him that we were sleeping together after he had sex with her downstairs or the same chair he's sitting in there playing Xbox.
You 46-year-old married man, Mr. Hartfield. What game is this you feel like you need to play with a 22-year-old girl where your line is, I'm horny?
There was a lot more to the mix than the regular old story of trying to find out who the father of the child is. Ms. Parker was beyond certain that the defendant fathered her child, even though he had a girlfriend. Mr. Morton, the defendant, however, claimed the timeline for her pregnancy just didn't add up. Could Ms. Parker be trying to pin the baby on him?
In your suit, you claim Mr. Morton fathered your 7-month-old son, Aaron, while in a relationship with his current girlfriend.
Yes, Your Honor.
You say the only reason he denies paternity is because his girlfriend turned him against you because because she's been unable to conceive a child with him.
Yes, Your Honor.
In addition to the paternity test, you're suing for $2,047 in back child expenses.
Yes, Your Honor.
Well, I wasn't expecting to hear that. Now the judge is amazed by the fact that Ms. Parker got intimate with Mr. Morton knowing he had a girlfriend. She then proceeds to ask what kind of relationship Ms. Parker had with Mr. Morton, and what she says leaves the entire courtroom in shock.
We're having
We've had sex. I have sex with both of them.
With Mr. Morton?
And Mrs. Lemon.
And his girlfriend?
Yes, Your Honor. Yes.
Oh, so a threesome at the same time, or you have two separate relationships?
Threesome at the same time, separate relationship. If I don't want to have sex with her and I want to have sex with him, that's what happens.
Oh, okay. It just got interesting.
She was able to have sex with us is because I asked my boyfriend to have sex with her because she was lonely.
That definitely complicates the whole situation. Looks like their freakiness was going a little over the roof. The fact that they were all sleeping with each other didn't change Mr. Morton's mind. Oh, trust me. He still believed he could not be the father of Ms. Parker's child, which begs the question, why does he have doubts?
When were you intimate with Ms. Parker? During the window?
The week of Mother's Day, May 11th, I believe.
You're intimate that day?
The only intimacy we had on Mother's Day was oral sex, Your Honor. How you gonna get pregnant off of oral sex, Your Honor?
Judge.
When was Aaron born?
December 5th.
So December 5th.
Judging from that situation, Judge Lauren was definitely not going to get the answers she was looking for. A news story enters the mix and complicates things even further. Mr. Parker's girlfriend claims she had a totally different guy she was sleeping with. But is Ms. Parker going to deny the allegation?
She had to keep reminding him that it's not yours, boo, it's not yours. I had sex with you after he was already in my stomach.
Exactly, I
But
said.
you told us that you didn't have sex with nobody
I just
after
said
you
I
got
didn't
pregnant.
have unprotected sex.
Let's get some control. I want to understand this story. Your testimony, Ms. Parker, is that you weren't intimate with anyone else during that time?
I did not have unprotected sex.
At least she didn't deny getting intimate with another man. Now we know there is a possibility that there might be two fathers. Ms. Parker then tries to clear the air of doubt by dropping a truth bomb. She claims she had a miscarriage before getting pregnant for Mr. Morton.
Ms. Parker, you stated that you weren't having unprotected sex with anyone else.
Yes.
But you're saying you only have unprotected sex with Mr. Morton.
Yes, Your Honor, yes. Let me explain my side of the story, because I'm trying to,
Yeah.
Before my boyfriend went away, I was pregnant by him. That's what they're getting confused. I had a whole miscarriage, Your Honor. A whole miscarriage by this man.
Now, all of a sudden.
I sure wasn't buying the whole miscarriage story, and trust me, the judge wasn't either. Moving on from all that drama, Ms. Parker finds out she's pregnant, and at the first instant, she tells Mr. Morton the baby isn't his. After having an appointment with her doctor, things change.
I'm not gonna lie, I told him, this is not your baby. Being as though I have a sonogram telling me I'm 13 weeks. So when I go to my first prenatal appointment and they give me a fetal assessment and they say, no, miss, you're 8 weeks pregnant. Your baby is due December the 24th.
So you went to your appointment and then your due date got adjusted?
Yes.
So initially, when you got pregnant, they gave you a certain due date?
Yes, ma'am.
Who knew a child's due date could be changed? Oh well, in Ms. Parker's case, that's exactly what happened. Aside from the fact that he was denying her and the baby, Ms. Parker was also upset because he had not helped out with the finances of taking care of her child. And spoiler alert, he loved taking care of other people's kids.
This feeling that he steps up to the plate and takes care of other people's children,
Yeah, so
but
why
does
should
not properly take care of baby Aaron is the basis of your suit.
Right.
You're suing for $2,047 in child care expenses, things you've spent on baby Aaron since he's been born, and you say Mr. Morton's done nothing.
Besides $30 and she hand me down.
The whole situation in the courtroom is about to change, folks. And trust me, you will be left in shock. Ms. Parker brings a witness to the courtroom, and guess who that witness is? None other than Mr. Morton's mother. I bet you weren't expecting that to happen now, were you?
So it is your belief that baby Aaron is your grandchild?
Yes, that's us all the way.
Have you witnessed your son connect with this child?
Yes.
And you've connected with the child?
Yeah.
Well, Mr. Morton's mother sure had a lot to say about their love triangle. The crazy thing about this case was Mr. Morton's mother believed the baby was her grandchild. She even went on to say all her family members accepted the baby, so she has no idea why her son doesn't want to.
We do accept him without a doubt.
Without doubt.
Without a doubt. doubt. I don't share his doubts because that's ours. That's a
She
more.
wouldn't know my doubts, Your Honor. My mother don't know anything about the situation. Every time I try to put her into the situation, she don't want to bother.
Where are we going from here with
Well, I'm
this?
gonna tell you where I'm going from this. When you read them DNA tests and they tell you that that's that man's son, I'm going to child support. That's where I'm going with this. I'm going straight downtown.
High time we brought their three-way sexual escapades to a close, right? There's a baby who needs to have a father. Let's see if the envelope is going to give us a shocker.
Mr. Morton, you are Aaron's father.
Thank you. I told you, like I'm not come on.
To care for that child, and Miss Parker is entitled to half of the child care expenses she has incurred thus far. You admit.
There's just something about the name Parker and very messy situations. Mr. Montgomery was beyond upset that Ms. Parker led him to believe he was the father of her child. After playing the daddy role for 3 months, she jumps out of the blue and says her fiancé is the new father. What's making her change her mind?
Mr. Montgomery, you say Miss Parker led you to believe that you fathered her 3-month-old son, Timothy Montgomery. You say you were present at the birth, named the baby, signed the birth certificate, but now Miss Parker says you're not the father.
Yes, Your Honor.
You've petitioned the court for a DNA test to prove that, in fact, you are Timothy's father.
Mr. Montgomery seemed to be quite certain he was the father of her child. He starts off by going on a long rant about how he has been the most supportive father ever and how his name is on the child's birth certificate. But Ms. Parker is hell-bent on proving he is not the father of her child.
It's my son, I mean, I was there, through the pregnancy. She allowed me to sit there and sign the birth certificate. And what the funny part is,
because
she
I thought
allowed
he
me
was
to name
your
the son after my deceased father.
Miss Parker, why would you allow him to do all of these things? Sign the birth certificate? At that time, did you or did you not believe he was Timothy's
I thought he was the father.
The cat is definitely out of the box. She was sleeping with both men at the same time. Way to go, Miss Parker. She did admit that for a while she believed that Mr. Montgomery was her baby's father. The judge then asks how she managed to end up in bed with 2 different men, and the courtroom goes up in flames.
I was with Mark, and he was always on Xbox. He wouldn't even have sex with me during the whole pregnancy because he felt weird.
So you're in a relationship, you're not happy. You feel like he's paying more attention to
me and her first met, it wasn't even like that. He wasn't even in the picture from what I've said.
You are
He done left.
He pried on my girlfriend when I was
One
with
at
her.
a time.
Thank God the judge came to the rescue because both men were ready to rip each other in half. Even with Judge Lauren telling both men to take a chill pill, they still couldn't stop yelling at each other. It felt like a wrestling match between Mr. Montgomery and Ms. Parker's fiancé.
Trust and believe, my son will have what he needs.
That's funny because I'm the one down there right now putting diapers on his ass, buying formula, buying clothes.
Back and you bet on my girl, homie.
So
I asked because I had a feeling.
Before you got pregnant, you ended up with Mr. Lanou, right?
Your Honor,
So how did that happen?
Mark.
The first time he had left was the first time me and her had met. Throughout the whole time,
Yeah,
even
broke up
told
with
him
me.
that we were sleeping together after he
they
back.
didn't.
They finally decide to tone down their voices. I never thought that a time would come when both men would quit yelling at each other. With the yelling out of the way, the judge decides to ask Ms. Parker why Mr. Montgomery was present at the birth and not her fiancé. Well, here's how that story went.
Holding him for the first time, I bring him to, her face, so she can see him because she had a C-section. I'm sitting there crying. I even told myself that, when he was born, I was like, I'm not gonna cry. Was I nervous? No, I was excited because the simple fact of the matter, I was told that I was gonna be a father. And unlike most men, I was damn proud to hear that I was gonna be a father.
Judging from that revelation, you could only feel sorry for Mr. Montgomery. He definitely had high hopes of becoming a father. Ms. Parker's fiancé, on the other hand, was riding a different train. He claimed he was furious about the whole situation but couldn't do anything about it.
Mr. Montgomery went through all of the motions, got to be at the hospital.
It still hurts.
He named the baby after his father. I mean, he's doing the most.
I actually was going to show up to the hospital, but out of respect for her and that unborn child, refused to because I know that it would have caused a disturbance between me and him.
It was really hard to believe her fiancé. He didn't even sound that convincing. Now, who's been stepping up as the father of the child? Is it Mr. Montgomery, the man who desperately wants to be the father, or Ms. Parker's fiancé? That's the question the judge is trying to figure out. But was she going to get the answer she was looking for?
Mr. Montgomery, you haven't been stepping up? Is that by choice?
She wanted me out.
I did.
And I granted her her wish. She sat there and came to me, I told her, I was like, you just don't seem like you want to be with me no more. She said, I don't. She told me she would rather be with Luke
mean-
because, no, she said she would rather be with Luke because he was the more plausible father of the child.
There were definitely no answers waiting for the judge, that's for sure. Ms. Parker is then asked what she's going to do if she finds out the baby belongs to Mr. Montgomery. In her defense, she claims she's going to let him visit but not spend so much time with the child, but Mr. Montgomery has bigger plans.
Mr. Montgomery is in fact Timothy's biological father. What then?
I will let him see him.
You'll let him be a part of his life?
I would. Just not, taking him places, far away.
I want to be able to spend days, weeks, months, years. I want to teach my son right from wrong. I want to pass my father's legacy that he passed on to me, on to my son, to him.
You don't need me to tell you, Mr. Montgomery and Ms. Parker are going to suck at being co-parents. The big question on everyone's mind now is how she is so certain that the child belongs to her fiancé and not Mr. Montgomery. What could possibly be her reason?
Do you really want Timothy to be Mr. Lanew's child?
Yes,
because
I do.
you want to be with Mr.
No,
Lanew?
because he is honestly more active with all three of my kids. I want him to be Timothy's father. He's more
Well, wanting and having a reasonable basis to believe he's the father are two different things.
He's
You want
not
him to
the
be
father. I want to be with him.
At this point, there's really no point for the judge to keep dragging the whole situation any further. It's been a whole mess, and the only way out is the results hidden behind the envelope. Are the results going to be in Mr. Montgomery's favor? Let's find out.
Mr. Montgomery, you are not the father. Mr. Lanew, you are the father.
In my eyes, that's still my son. I was there for his birth. I sat there and was there for the first month and a half of his life.
In this situation, Ms. Hubbard wanted to prove to the court that the defendant was the father of her 2-year-old daughter, but she didn't stop there. She was also seeking 2 years' worth of child support from the defendant. Mr. Watson Jr. claimed he couldn't be the father. Could he be trying to deny the baby?
Ms. Hubbard, you've petitioned the court for a DNA test to prove to Mr. Watson Jr. that he is the father of your 2-year-old daughter, Amiria Hubbard.
Yes, Your Honor.
You're also seeking 2 years' worth of child care expenses in the amount of $2,150.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Watson, you say you know you are not the father of Ms. Hubbard's daughter.
Let's just say she felt more hurt than anger. She claimed it wasn't easy on her side, having to take care of 5 children and her disabled mother all by herself. Even the judge couldn't hide how sorry she felt for Ms. Hubbard.
He hasn't contributed to anything. He hasn't done anything for her. Nothing.
You're doing this by yourself?
Yes, ma'am. I'm taking care of my 5 children and my disabled mother by myself. And
How hard has it been for you?
Very hard.
I see the tears in your eyes.
Yeah, very hard.
Oh, stop.
When I was pregnant with her, he came around and he was supposed to give me some money because I had took him somewhere. He didn't want to give me some gas money.
Mr. Watson Jr. sure has a lot of explaining to do. Ms. Hubbard told the judge that he sold her a dream of wanting to be there and take care of her and her child. But in real life, he never wanted to be part of their lives. Well, guess what? Mr. Watson Jr. didn't deny the accusations. So where did it all go wrong?
Mr. Watson, is that true? Have you done anything for this child?
No, ma'am, I haven't done anything for the child.
You admit you've done nothing?
Yes, ma'am.
Why is that, sir?
Because I don't think this is my baby.
You don't?
This is not my baby, because she lied.
But your family
You had sex with Miss Hubbard,
But your family members
Right, but she
Did
lied.
you use
her.
protection?
No, ma'am. But this was way before.
And
She
his
lied.
family members
She lied about her
accepted-
dates.
That revelation definitely took everyone by surprise. One thing was for sure, though. Mr. Watson Jr. came very prepared to defend himself. He brought out a calendar that detailed the time frame in which Miss Hubbard claimed she was pregnant. Here's how that played out.
She told you she was 3 months pregnant
Right.
in August.
Right.
And then you say in October, she told you she was 3 months pregnant again?
Again, yes. So I'm like, who does that? Why should I believe that's my baby?
But that's a lot of months to be 3 months
That's what I'm
pregnant.
saying. That's what I'm
My
saying.
point
He don't
exactly.
even know.
Miss Hubbard, can you explain this?
No.
After that back and forth, I can only ask, how did these two even get into a relationship with each other? Mr. Watson Jr. then goes on to express further why he feels Ms. Hubbard is trying to pin the baby on him, and trust me, he had more truth bombs to reveal.
She was pregnant. She was 3 months pregnant. I was like, oh, okay, so I know she probably be pregnant because we did have unprotected sex, so I rolled with it. Okay, so September, she sold me an ultrasound. And the ultrasound, she supposed to be, what, about 4 months? Ultrasound looked like the baby was like about ready to come out, like 7 months. So I'm like, you cannot be 4 months. No. Look at that baby head.
I did tell you he had more truth bombs up his sleeve, but here's where things get a little tricky. All this while, Ms. Hubbard believed they were in a romantic relationship because she really liked him. But for Mr. Watson Jr., that was not the case. Even while he was with her, he was cheating with several women. Oops.
Was this an exclusive relationship? Did you all say we're committed, we're boyfriend and girlfriend?
Yeah, we was together.
No.
We was together, but he was still cheating. He a dog.
Only time I wanted to be.
He still had females. Okay. He was living in a rooming house with a female. He still had females. He talking about they just his friend. I used to stay catching him, but like after when I caught him after we had sex on Valentine's Day, I was done. I was over.
That was a lot to handle if you ask me. Now the dynamic of their story takes a new turn. Mr. Watson Jr. drops another truth bomb in the courtroom and claims he is certain he wasn't the only man Ms. Hubbard was intimate with. Hold up, there was another man?
I ain't want to look at it because, it's a diary. Might hurt my feelings. So Temptation told me to go and look at it. I went on and look at it. First page, I see she was talking about her first love, and I flipped to another page. It had a condom pack on it, and explaining the dude that she had sex with, how his sex was, and everything. Okay, I flipped to another page, flipped to another, was another condom pack right there. So
on the diary?
Now, that was some evidence. Looks like he wasn't lying after all. When Ms. Hubbard found out she was pregnant, what did he do? She told Mr. Watson Jr. immediately, and as you would expect, he denied it to her face. Here is what she did after his denial.
Did you go to any of the doctor's appointments? You showed the ultrasound? Did you show up for that?
No, she lied the first time.
I didn't see him no more. I didn't see him no more until he asked me to do his hair, and he came over there and he had brought some clothes with him at my house to do his hair. When he had left, he left his outfit. Then I ain't my baby. I ain't got time to beg her nothing. I said, okay, well, let me go on here and sell this little nice outfit.
She has definitely been through a lot. It hurts her so bad that in no time she bursts into tears as she talks about how Mr. Watson Jr.'s family accepts her and the child. But for some reason, he just doesn't want to accept the baby.
His family members even accept my child. He the only one that don't accept her.
Well, that's because you lied.
You're saying, Miss Hubbard, that this is upsetting you because you say his whole family.
Yes, and he keeping her away. He don't even want her around his other kids. He don't even claim her. Sometimes he claim her on Facebook, then he get mad, that ain't his baby, then he make a show about it. But that's his child.
For her sake, I hope Mr. Watson Jr. ends up being the father of her child because he has put her through so much. The results from the DNA are in. It's high time we got a verdict from the judge, so here it comes.
Mr. Watson, you are Amaria's father.
Deadbeat. Like I told you. Right.
Sorry. You've been lying on them dates.
I'm straight.
You've been lying on them dates. And I'm willing to take care of her. Along with my other 2 kids, I promise.
I'm straight.
Talk about a messy situation. This would definitely go down as the messiest to ever exist. Ms. Streeter found herself in the courtroom trying to prove that her child belonged to the defendant who lied to her about his marriage. At least the defendant wasn't denying the affair, but was he going to accept the baby?
Ms. Streeter, you claim that during your relationship with the defendant, he convinced you to get pregnant with his child, but what you didn't know is that he was a married man.
Yes, Your Honor.
You say Mr. Hartfield is only denying the child in order to save his marriage. Mr. Hartfield, you say you made a mistake by having an affair, but you know you are not the father of Miss Streeter's child. You claim that Miss Streeter was openly sleeping with other men besides you.
As you would expect, Ms. Streeter and Mr. Hartfield, the defendant, were not going to go down telling the same story. On one side, Ms. Streeter claimed Mr. Hartfield told her he wanted to have a family with her. On the other hand, Mr. Hartfield denied all accusations, claiming Ms. Streeter was nothing but delusional.
We went to the hospital when we got the birth control taken out together. We went together.
She's telling you guys a bunch of lies. A whole lot of lies. That's convincing. If I didn't know any better, I'd be convinced.
What is true?
That's definitely not the truth. We went in and took a birth control out together. That's definitely not true.
We planned this child, and when we even planned the date, I had an app on my phone that tracked my ovulation, and we knew what we was doing when we was having sex.
One thing was for sure, though. Mr. Hartfield's hands weren't innocent. How are you married, and you end up having an affair with someone else? In his defense, he claimed he never kept the fact that he was married a secret from Ms. Streeter. But was that really true?
He's trying to make it seem like we was never in a relationship and that this never happened, but he just texted me just recently trying to get back with me, trying to tell me he want to be with me.
Oh my God.
So that's
Is that true, sir?
No, it is not.
I have a text
message
right here.
Streeter?
He texted me last night. I have the proof right here.
I'd like to see that. You say he texted you?
He texted me earlier this week.
After that piece of evidence, Mr. Hartfield was definitely lying through his teeth. Even Judge Lauren couldn't hide her irritation any longer. He was trying to make the situation look like he was the victim. But come on, Mr. Hartfield. We're too grown for all that. Just tell the truth.
That is true. I did send those messages.
Oh, you did?
Yes, I
but
did.
He's a married man.
Hold on. Let me explain to you why. Because of this game that she and I like to play, that she likes to play. If I don't do that, Dominique goes ballistic. And we were playing this game, but now that we're in court, it seemed like some old man has been trying to hit on a young lady, but I'm telling you, that is not true.
Oh well, looks like the judge might have to hit him with tougher questions before he tells the truth. What the judge wanted to know now was, what happened when Ms. Streeter told Mr. Hartfield she was pregnant?
It was planned. It was expected. He was excited. He wanted a baby.
Please.
That was the whole point.
This is the situation. Dominique deals with so many guys, okay? She found one that was an older guy, and she thought that I would be a cake daddy, or however you want to call it. The thing is that she found out, hey, you're dealing with a guy that ain't got no money, so now you waste your time.
That's not true. That's not true.
Mr. Hartfield sure knows how to lie. At this point, the judge is done listening to whatever stories he's telling in the courtroom. She proceeds to ask Mr. Hartfield's wife if she had any idea her husband was fooling around with Mrs. Streeter. Here's how that drama played out.
All of these details and the fact he's still texting this 22-year-old young woman?
No, he did not.
How did you even find out about this entire affair?
The text message that I received from her.
You get a text message?
A random text message that says, I'm in a relationship with your husband and have been for 8 months, and I'm pregnant. And that's it.
It's really not surprising he kept the whole affair from his wife. I mean, who in their right mind would tell their wife they had an affair? The mind-blowing thing about this drama between Mr. Hartfield and Ms. Streeter was that he was actually excited to have the baby.
He was there when the baby was born. He was excited, like, you know, this my baby, this my boy. I never got to see none of my kids born. I want to be with you. Let's make this work. We got a child. He needs to be in the house with both parents.
Were you telling her these things, Mr. Hartfield?
No.
I tried to get him to sign the birth certificate. The reason why, he signed it at first, but it was time for the witness to see us, and he like, you too anxious about me signing this birth certificate.
Could you imagine that? His name was actually signed on the child's birth certificate. Wow! All hands were pointing at Mr. Hartfield. In trying to change the topic, he drops a truth bomb, claiming he wasn't the only man Ms. Streeter was sleeping with.
Oh, now it's her fault!
Because I never got her support or anything.
Not only that,
that's a fact.
He had more girlfriends than he was
that.
talking to me. When I first met him, he had a lot of women he talked to.
Of course.
A lot.
Of course.
It was a...
Of course.
So not only was it me, it was other people.
Let the truth come out. That's exactly what I said.
Mr. Hartfield was definitely not expecting that to come to bite him in the ass. Isn't Mr. Hartfield tired of all these lies? Because I definitely am. Anyway, you can only hide the truth for so long till it bursts out, and the DNA results are about to do just that.
Mr. Hartfield, you are the father.
Okay, that's cool. That's okay.
Do you understand now what you just made a child with?
Right.
No, look at me. I don't know what he told you up until this point. I will say that con men like him, they can be very charismatic. You two are both very beautiful young women. And you wanted them to believe that somebody else was the father. But the text indicates the other man was ruled out, so only Mr. Haskett could be the father.
I've offered to pay for DNA. I offered to pay. We didn't have to go to court. I was going to pay for a DNA test. He wouldn't do it. He wouldn't show up. He could have done it when she was born. He didn't do it. He could have done it when we went to court, and he didn't show up.
Specifics that you can share that would prove your case.
I can tell you how big his winker is. It's pretty small.
No, it's not. I could tell you plenty of times.
It's about
I've
that
known
big.
him for 7 years.
It's about that big.
Definitely not. And don't you dare tell him about his penis.
Mr. Wiggins says he cannot be the father of little Aubrey, and says today's result will end years of frustration and heartache in his life. Little does he know how psycho things are about to get. Here is how he puts it.
As a result of being alleged the father of Aubrey, I lost my wife and I want to regain my family.
You lost your family? You were married at the time? Explain.
Yes, Your Honor, I was married and me and my wife went through a separation due to a rough patch. Due to my separation,
Yeah, you were married, but that did not stop you from going after her anyway, did it? So it cannot be that your marriage would stop you from dating when it did not even stop you from cheating. Here is what Ms. Davis thinks about that.
You did?
2.5 years we was together.
I was telling her what I felt I needed to tell her to ultimately get what I wanted.
You might have gotten more than you bargained for, right?
He did, a child.
And so why did you think you were in a relationship, Ms. Davis?
He stated that multiple times.
Was he telling you there was going to be a future?
Yes.
Mr. Wiggins looks all cool and responsible and innocent, but this is one crazy dude. Getting your mistress and your wife pregnant at the same time is nasty work. What did he think was going to happen when he slept with both of them without protection? And it gets even worse.
And of course, because she wanted my wife out of the picture, because she did want more.
You're right. I wanted more because that's what you presented.
And I was good to her. I mean, because ultimately I was trying to get something out of her. So I did what I had to do. I felt I needed to do.
Like 2.5 years, how we're not together.
Things happen or said in the bedroom that may not always be.
Oh, that was what caused a lot of havoc in your life. Not the sleeping around and getting your mistress pregnant before getting your wife pregnant literally 2 months later? That was the great havoc causer? Well, prepare to be entertained because this show gets crazier.
We went to a room and we had fun. He, on the other hand, decides that he wants to go through my phone and he found a little statement about me and the guy talking.
No, it's much more than that, Your Honor. Let's back it up a little. Yes, we did intend to plan Valentine's Day together. However, prior to us going to the hotel.
Wait, how are you cheating on your wife with another woman but trying to get offended when she messes with other dudes? What is happening here? Is this dude serious? Anyway, let us hear about his doubts.
I think more so the birth certificate. You know, I was at the hospital.
You were?
I were. Not when the birth certificate was signed. Your Honor, this is the birth date that's listed on Aubrey's birth certificate. My birthday is November the 9th, 1990.
The one
this
you wrote.
Says 11/11/1990. I didn't write anything. And also in the state of Florida.
So his claim is that Ms. Davis got his name on the birth certificate deceptively, and so that means he isn't the father? Really? Even if that happened, that wouldn't mean anything. And here is the kicker. Ms. Davis says this is just a bunch of lies anyway.
So it is your belief that someone put your name on there and then got your birth date wrong, put it on there as well, that they wrote it in?
Absolutely.
Acknowledgement of any kind?
I wasn't there, Your Honor.
Yes, you were.
It was a phone call asking for my information.
What information were they asking you for? Your name and your birthday?
My date of birth, my social, where I was born.
You know what this sounds like? It sounds like Mr. Wiggins was indeed there, but wrote a wrong date of birth so that he can later dispute the paternity of the kid. That seems like the sort of slick thing this dude would do. Anyway, it gets better.
Because when I seen it, when we got the birth certificate, I let him know that whatever he signed it wrong. He was supposed to go get. That's all you asked for was a baby. Was another baby.
I had two children.
Another baby.
I didn't need any more children.
He wanted
didn't need
me
any more children
because of my body, and he wanted a baby from me.
That is all I wanted.
Yes.
That is crazy on 2 counts. Mr. Wiggins is insane for doing that, and Ms. Davis is crazy for believing him. How can you believe a married man who has 2 babies already and says he wants 1 more from you? He is obviously lying.
Why does he want to give his wife back?
I have no idea. I mean,
because
from my
it was just a sex.
It was never a sex thing. 2.5 years, I don't understand.
What I'm saying is, how did this all go wrong?
I went back to my wife. That's how it all went wrong. Along with Miss Davis not being able to be with one person.
He went back to his wife when he found out about the Facebook.
This is the most psycho dude I have ever seen on paternity court. The crazy thing is, you would never guess he was this psycho if you met him in public. You are likely to just think he is some average dude. No, he is insane. Anyway, this means Ms. Davis would not still be intimate with Mr. Wiggins, right?
Are you all still involved?
No, we're not, Your Honor. No, we're not, Your Honor.
At the same time, 2 different answers.
Right.
Exact same time.
When was the last time you 2 were intimate?
It's been a while.
Last night.
No, Your Honor, we was at separate hotels.
Yeah, there is like a 100% chance this dude is lying. But who knows? If the child turns out not to be his, maybe he would have been saying the truth all along, right? Maybe. Just maybe. Anyway, here is what the DNA test has to say about this crazy case.
These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics and they read as follows. In the case of Wiggins versus Davis, when it comes to 23-month-old Aubrey Wiggins, it has been determined by this court, Mr. Wiggins, you are the father.
Mr. Webb says he has never ever been intimate with Ms. Tasha Cole, so there is no way that he could be the father of her baby. Ms. Cole says her name is Tasha, not Mary, so that is impossible. Here is how it begins.
I never had sex with her, Your Honor.
Well, that would rule you out. You've never had sex with her?
No.
Yeah, he did.
She's a liar. She's crazy.
Ms. Cole, we've heard a lot of defenses in this courtroom. Rarely have we ever heard that.
Well, like Judge Lake says, this is a really new one. She says she can remember one night of insane passion, and he says she is an insane liar. Who is telling the truth here? Let's shed more light on this.
Sex or anything, we were just friends. We would chill out, that was it.
You were never intimate with her in any way?
I never stayed in her bedroom. I stayed out on the couch.
That's a lie.
And on top of that, I was only there for a week and a week and a half.
That's a lie.
Miss Cole, all right, take me back to the night you believe.
Wah. Hold on with the screaming woman. You don't have to scream so loudly to make your voice heard. The courtroom is not that large. Please don't have a psycho breakdown here, lady.
You said you and your husband were taking care of Mr. Webb?
Yes, and my grandkids and anybody else that needed.
You're a liar.
You are a liar.
You are a liar. Everything that you're saying. She was on the phone with me 5-6 times a day.
Why was Mr. Webb living with you?
He's a punk bum.
Okay, Mr. Webb, your story is also looking kind of crazy. You don't just got to someone's house to hang out for a week or two, especially if you are not really close friends. What was really happening? Here is what his girlfriend thinks.
Okay, can we leave it at that, Tasha? It's not my baby. I'm trying to do right in my life and move on. And this is not doing either of us any good. So just do me a favor and stay out of my life in the inbox. At this point, I'm thinking, I feel like she's trying to say that I'm the baby daddy, but not just hinting, not actually saying.
All right.
Okay. So here's the second one.
So they had a party, and for some reason, he didn't leave immediately after the party. He stayed a week after it and ate so much food that Ms. Cole's mom says she had to bring them food. Anyway, let's see what this text says.
Father to your baby, please leave me alone. And that was not it. I just didn't want to deal with her anymore. I still don't.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, okay. She is actually crazy, all right. This is one psycho lady here. Children do not look like people at that stage, Ms. Cole. That is an insane claim, and no one Mr. Webb thinks she is out of her mind.
To know for sure he's the dad, because I did have another partner. It was a month prior.
How we find out?
No, I told you there was another possibility, and I told the other possibility
you also
there
told
was
them
another.
that you were 100% sure that I was the father. You and your mom said that.
Wait a minute, Miss Cole.
Look, she looks just like him.
That baby's white.
That is exactly what it seems like, because the evidence Mr. Webb has produced actually kind of makes Ms. Cole look a bit crazy. So is there any other possibility? Let's find out.
Sorry, Your Honor.
Okay, there was 2 witnesses there that said that they never had sex at the party.
The night that she said that we had sex or whatever, 2 of our friends were there. One of them were her family members, and even he said that.
Okay, that is a bit more convincing. But here is the thing. Doctors are not perfect. They make mistakes all the time. How do we know the shifting of the due date isn't a mistake? And importantly, what is even the evidence that Mr. Webb slept with Ms. Davis at all?
Specifics that you can share that would prove your case.
I can tell you how big his winker is. It's pretty small.
No, it's not. I could tell you plenty of times.
It's about that
I've known him
big.
for 7 years.
It's about that big.
Okay, wow. Well, we have to listen to him then, don't we? He knows himself, and he is really sure he did not get Ms. Cole pregnant. Let's find out what the DNA test results say and get to the end of this mystery.
Jerome?
Here you go, Your Honor.
These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics, and they read as follows. In the case of Webb versus Cole, when it comes to 6-month-old Majestic Cole, it has been determined by this court.
Ms. Cole says she has been a naughty girl and has been with several other men, but that does not matter, she says, because Mr. Gilbert here is the father of her unborn child. Mr. Gilbert says that is just a load of rubbish. Here is how that starts out.
Mrs. Cole and her daughter are constantly lying. We don't know the truth from fiction anymore. I'd like to just find out where we stand on this whole situation. Everything that comes out of their mouths is lies.
So you believe the baby she's carrying is not your son's child?
Absolutely. At this point in time...
Okay, hold up. Wait a minute. No bias here. But why does Mr. Gilbert look like a mix between a school child caught peeing his pants and the pre-mustache figure of a very important German dude who came to power in the 1930s? That is just weird. Anyway, let us see what he has to say.
Did you have sex with Miss Cole?
Yes, Your Honor.
You did. Was it unprotected sex?
Yes.
Okay. Miss Cole, what was the nature of this relationship with Mr. Gilbert?
We went to school together. We were best friends in school, and...
Why is he looking like that? Seriously? This dude creeps me out. Anyway, testimony is that they both got it in and out of their system twice in one day, and then it never happened again. Anyway, here is what happened when Mr. Adolf Gilbert found out that he was going to have a baby.
Would you be in the baby's life if you knew it was yours? And then you wrote back, yay.
No, yeah, why? There's supposed to be a space there.
Oh, yeah, why? So you, I get it. It's not yay.
Yeah.
It's yeah, why? And then she says, because I am.
Yeah, oh boy is the right expression. It does not seem, in those texts, that he really had any doubts. It just looked like he did not want to have a child, period. Anyway, this gig gets better quickly. So are there any other options here?
Other daughter, Tasha, was in the background yelling, he's not the only option, he's not the only option. It may be somebody else's, it may be somebody else's. And I'm going, really?
That's not true.
You can hear her. Hold on one second, Ms. Cole. I'm going to get to you. You were on the phone and you say you overheard this?
Well, at least we have got that out of the way. There is at least one more possibility here, and Mr. Gilbert may get off the hook. But it is never that straightforward in paternity court, because that other possibility has a tiny problem.
Your Honor, he's fixed, and he did not complete.
So you're saying the other potential father, you've found out since that he's had a vasectomy, or he had a vasectomy?
He had.
But
A
that's
vasectomy.
just his word. He's never given any evidence that he's...
Okay, first of all, gross. Second of all, old enough to be my father is not a real age. But it is real enough to tell us that the age gap is probably even bigger than one between father and daughter. Try maybe grandpa and daughter. Would this dude even be able to get her pregnant? And it gets better.
It's yours. You write back. I don't. Miss Cole writes, the other guy is fit. You write back, so he says. And if you believe that, you wouldn't have lied to me. Cole writes back, do you want to be in this baby's life? And then you write,
That was actually good work, Mr. Gilbert. Good for you. You'd think this case is just between Mr. Gilbert and Ms. Cole, but you'd be wrong, because their mothers have a huge argument brewing. Here is what that looks like.
Lies that she had told him, and it's been nothing but lies out of her mouth. And that's what we have constantly gotten from not but one of you, but two of you. You don't find out the truth about what's going on in a conversation between your daughter and I, and you roll over.
It seems like there is a lot of bad blood between these two. But let us get back to the question of paternity. Is there any other evidence we need to see? Well, let's see, because this twist is insane.
Why do I have evidence right here? The day they went to take the paternity test, this says your daughter is praying that it is my son's. That
What
she
is that?
doesn't know for sure.
Wait, what do you have?
Right here,
Jerome,
Your Honor. Would
please
you
hand me
like
that
to
evidence.
see this?
She is praying that it is.
Wait.
I want it to be his so bad.
And you know what? She is absolutely correct. People lie and make up stories all the time. That is exactly why paternity court exists, and that is why this court will read the one result that never lies: DNA test results.
Father?
No doubt.
These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics, and they read as follows. In order for us to determine paternity, prenatal DNA test was performed. A blood sample was drawn from the mother and...
Mr. Patrick says a stranger that he offered a place to stay betrayed him and slept with his girlfriend behind his back. Ms. Pence says that she is 1,000,000% her fraternal kids are his, but she strangely says nothing about the stranger's claim. Let's find out more.
We befriended him, let him move into our home. He offered to help pay the bills and stuff.
So you basically took in a person that was going to rent a room?
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Okay.
Well, he stayed maybe 5 or 6 days, and he up and moved out. And I questioned her. I said, wonder why he just upped and left. Is it because me and you argue a lot?
Okay.
You know, time goes on. Me and her sat around and had a few drinks.
Oh, we know what happens when that happens, don't we? Your girlfriend is gone all night, and she comes back looking like she was in a hurricane, and from the neighbor's house too? That is basically nightmare fuel for men, and Mr. Patrick lived it. Hold on, it gets even more psychotic.
The gentleman that had been staying with us, it was just the one time. It never happened again after that, and he still seems to believe that it happened more than the one time, Your Honor.
So you hadn't slept with him when he was actually living there?
No, Your Honor.
Wait, did you go looking for him, or did you run into him?
I kind of went looking for him. Larry had continuously, from day one, accused me of...
Yeah, darling, she's from the South, and where she comes from, these things are just normal. It is part of the lifestyle, you know. You have got to flirt with the boys and the girls and sometimes strangers who your husband allowed into your home. Anyway, Ms. Pence is certain about one thing.
With anyone before that. Never. You constantly accused me of it, and I kept telling you, you're going to keep pushing and keep pushing, and it's going to happen. That night it happened. That was the only time, and it's never happened since then.
Yeah, guys, that is how it works. If your partner continues continuously accuses you of cheating on him, the best way to help him get over it is by actually cheating on him, conceiving kids around the same period, and then turn up to paternity court and say, "I told you so." That ought to teach him, right? So where is the stranger now?
Honor, I don't. I've never spoke with the guy after that night.
Never kept in touch with him after that night?
No, Your Honor. I couldn't tell you where he is right now.
I have another question. Why that guy? You say you left the house and you said I went looking for him. And I told him if he kept pushing me and kept saying I was cheating, that it's going to happen, and it did that night.
Mr. Patrick's head must be on Mars right now. The way she behaved like cheating on her husband was the rational next step for her after getting accused of cheating is crazy. But she has some proof to show that Mr. Patrick is the father of the twins.
Right around the 2nd of November, Your Honor. The twins were born almost completely full term. And if you count those dates back, it only leads to Mr. Patrick. There's no
Mr.
way
Patrick,
possible.
do you agree with those dates? They seem to add up.
No, Your Honor, I don't. I mean, it's a 5-day window between there.
A 5-day window
matter,
between
Mr.
what?
From the date that she had slept with the other man.
You know for a fact? How can you know something like that for a fact? She says because the doctor gave her a date, but doctors usually only give a window. And since the difference is only 5 days, then it is very possible her twins belong to the stranger. So what does Mr. Patrick think?
This exhibit, and you see on October 29th, if that's the date she had sex with the other gentleman?
That's a hard pill to swallow.
Yes, it is, but it never happened more than the one time.
That you
That's
say.
the only time. I know for it never happened.
So, Mr. Patrick, you believe this happened more than once?
Oh, yeah.
But why shouldn't he believe that? She has shown that she can cheat on him, and if she can do that, who knows how many times she would have done it. Anyway, Mr. Patrick has even bigger doubts.
There's nothing to hide.
And just like
That's
I've told her,
nothing.
if it comes to the fact that the kids aren't mine, 9 times out of 10, I'm probably going to leave.
That's what I'm afraid of, Your Honor.
I mean, if it does come back, which I hope it does come back, that they are my children, it's still going to be hard for me to gain trust for her again. Trust is
So the stakes are high.
back.
This is very serious.
Well, now I hope it works out for both of them. But we can only know for sure when we see the DNA test results. The good news is that Judge Lauren Lake has it, and here is what they say.
These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics, and they read as follows. In the case of Patrick versus Hence, when it comes to fraternal twins, 4-year-old Carrie Patrick and Larry Patrick, it has been determined by this court. Patrick, you are the father.
I told you that you was the father.
Ms. Mora wants Mr. Platt to finally acknowledge her daughter as his and sign her birth certificate. Mr. Platt says there is less than 0 chance of that happening because he knows that the child cannot possibly be his. But here is how Ms. Mora puts it.
I've come from a broken family. My dad was never in my life. He's not on my birth certificate either. And my daughter deserves the best, you know what I'm saying? And this is why I'm here today, because I'm gonna make sure that his name is gonna be on that birth certificate.
Because you have no doubt he is the biological father.
There's no doubt in my mind, Your Honor.
But you do have doubt, Mr. Platt.
So she was still living with her ex when she was going on all these walks with Mr. Platt and getting to know him. And she continued living with that ex until she started dating Mr. Platt. The only question now is if she slept with that ex while dating Mr. Platt.
Website, you know what I'm saying? I was with my ex. I explained to Mr. Platt that I was with him. I lived with him. He was like, okay, cool. Like we're gonna talk, whatever. He agreed to it, you know what I'm saying? And we ended up meeting up. We went for a walk in the park, you know what I'm saying? And from there, like, is it like...
Hold up. She stayed in that house long enough after they started dating that she got pregnant there? That is messed up. Well, at least she told Mr. Platt that she was pregnant first, right?
You moved out of the house with the other guy.
No, I was still living with him. Yes, I was still living with him.
And were you intimate with the other guy and Mr. Platt at the same time?
Not at all. Not at all.
Because we get a lot of people that come into this courtroom and say they were broken up, so they couldn't get pregnant because they were broken up.
That's why I have the doubt, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it does not sound or look like he was cool with it at all. This already sounds tacky and mad suspicious, but at least when Ms. Mora moved out from the house, she stopped talking to her ex, right? Like he obviously did not show up at the hospital when she gave birth, right?
Mr. Platt.
It's because that he was there. He was at the...
Who was?
He was present at the hospital.
He was.
You know what I mean? I wasn't...
Your ex came to the hospital when you had the baby?
Platt, I talked to Mr. Platt the day before I had my daughter. He was thinking that it wasn't his baby. The other guy didn't show up until 7 o'clock that night.
Wait, this is confusing. So this ex is such a great dude that he is willing to step up for his ex's daughter? Am I getting this right, chat? Anyway, Mr. Platt hasn't been on his best behavior either because he has only stepped up for half of the time the girl has been alive. You cannot brag about being there for your infant half the time, and of course it gets worse.
Sometimes she calls me the dad, and then sometimes
she calls him by his name, Your Honor.
Like she goes wishy-washy. Oh no, no. She said dad the other day.
The other day she did.
On Monday, she said that.
The other day she did, Your Honor.
The other day she called the other guy dad.
Yeah,
like,
and that's why I was freaking out.
She calls the other guy dad? Now, you cannot blame the kid. She is probably confused because there are two men her mom is entertaining. But you kind of understand why Mr. Platt has his doubts here. You cannot watch your kid call another man dad and not have doubts about paternity. And there is more.
Would take care of her, yes. I give it to you, you stepped up. But at the same time, every time you would get mad, you would deny her.
Because she would get mad at me because I couldn't discipline her. And like she still does it to this day, like, oh, well, don't be doing this,
because
don't be doing that.
Because I feel like, you know what I'm saying?
That's my baby, and it's saying, it's my.
To him that he's the father.
At this point, I am kind of leaning towards this dude being the father. He has not presented any compelling evidence that might change our minds, but maybe that evidence does not have to come from him, but from Ms. Mora. Here is what she thinks.
But basically, you would.
But Your Honor, since day one, since I found out that I was pregnant, and even after I had her, not once have I ever told him, you're not the father. I've always told him, you're the father, and I'm telling you, and I know for a fact that you are. And
only when a few times
listen,
get mad, she wouldn't say it.
Why is this guy still around? Why is this guy picking up this baby?
Yeah, you have to admit that this whole living situation is a bit less than ideal. Any man would have doubts if the mother of his child always had her ex hanging around his kid. But Ms. Mora says she has conclusive evidence that the baby is his.
I know the other dude is not the father because we've had so many miscarriages. And our last miscarriage was right before Anaya. And I lost that baby when I was 5 months. I was already in second trimester.
So you were sleeping with this other guy?
Well, we have seen enough. Ms. Mora and Platt have had their time in court. It is time to put an end to this mystery and see who the father of this baby is. So what does the DNA test results say?
All right, well, let's go to the result. Jerome? Thank you.
You're welcome.
These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics, and they read as follows.
Ms. Benskin insists that her 4-year-old child is Mr. Haskett's kid. Mr. Haskett, on the other hand, says this is a lie and that Ms. Benskin is nothing but a money-hungry liar, and his girlfriend is also here to back him up. But Ms. Benskin says if he doesn't start paying up his child support, he will go to jail.
He's about $8,000 behind in child support. He cannot hold a job. He has not held a job for a very long time. He's already been to jail once for it, and he's still not paying.
Well, you say you're here to do him a favor. Because you need to get this legal situation.
Okay, but why is she speaking for him? Importantly, why has this dude been paying child support for at least 4 years for a kid he is sure isn't his? That doesn't make any sense. Here is the explanation for that.
Because we had a court date set, and first it had got changed.
It didn't get changed. He didn't show up.
No.
He called in. He did not show up.
That is not how it happened. The first one was rescheduled, and then we had to go again, and then they said that they changed it, and then he rescheduled it.
That is a tricky spot to be in, and if he does not clear this up, he could actually end up going to jail. That would be a crazy injustice. That is why this DNA test is so important. But then the case gets a bit confusing for Mr. Haskett.
But you've even spent time in jail for failure to pay this support.
Yes.
I've never
Yes, you did. You went to jail and you got out right after. Remember?
You don't remember going to jail, Mr. Haskett?
He bonded out right after.
The stakes are pretty high here, but it does not look like Mr. Haskett cares too much about them. Ms. Benskin says none of this is her fault, and Mr. Haskett could have had the DNA test done if he wanted, but he just never cared about doing it.
We're having sex with her, am I correct?
Yes.
You were not using protection?
No.
You were not using protection?
No.
All right, so now we're on the same page that we can make a baby with a paternity issue. So you had sex without protection. How long did this relationship go on?
Oh, so it is a proper love triangle. Mr. Haskett and his girlfriend used to be together, and then they got separated, and then he got with Ms. Benskin. He got back with his girlfriend, and now Ms. Benskin is being pushed out of the picture, but she is not going gently into that good night.
Called his family members, and they knew everything about it, and they are still in Kinsley's life. He just chooses not to be.
So you've talked to his family members. They accept Kinsley. You told him you were pregnant, and he just didn't respond. You couldn't get an answer from him.
Yes, Your Honor.
So was he the only guy you were having?
Wow, what a model, dude. Sleep with a woman without protection several times, and then block her on Facebook when she confronts you about it. Who amongst us wouldn't do that? Seriously, it just makes sense.
And no when I asked her that question.
Yes.
How do you know that?
She had came over to my house, but she had told me she had to pick up her friend from work. And after we had picked him up, he got in the car, he kissed her on the cheek and said that he loved her. And I just kind of stepped back from the situation and looked at it like, what?
This is just loser behavior. If your extended family accepts your baby mama and you don't, the odds are you are the one making a huge mistake. But Mr. Haskett has his own arguments.
Referring to as one of my good friends, and he didn't have a way to work. I gave him a ride to work in my car.
That was
and
his
if
car.
there was sexual intercourse with this other guy, why would I ask you to go with me to pick him up at his work?
Whoa. Now this puts a totally different complexion on things. If this is true, it just means that Ms. Benskin has been lying all this time, and we should not trust a word she says. Here is what she has to say about that.
Benskin, there is no doubt in your mind that Mr. Haskett is your child's biological father.
Yes, Your Honor.
You have no doubt.
No doubt. I'm just ready to prove it to him. My daughter's 4. She deserves to know who her dad is, and she doesn't. Brent, we've lived 3 houses down from him for 2 months.
That is definitely psychotic. Definitely. Anyway, it is time for the huge reveal. Is Mr. Haskett the father of this beautiful baby girl, or is there someone else in the picture? Let's find out.
Resemblance, Mr. Haskett?
No.
Well, as I said, I have the results for you, but I do want to ask you, Ms. Benskin, one more time. No lying.
No lying.
Just tell the truth. Is there any other possible father?
No.
For Kinsley?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Jerome? And he says, let me introduce you to my wife?
Or did I say that before we got to Missouri?
No. I have never heard of a man taking a woman on vacation to meet their wife.
Exactly, exactly. And then when we got there, Your Honor, the girl, they was asking me, like, how do you know him? I'm like, how do you know him? She just met him.
The wife?
Yes.
Did your sexual relationship with Ms. Wolf end once she found out she was pregnant?
No, Your Honor.
So you continued to have sex with her?
Yes, Your Honor.
Until when?
3 weeks before Zane was born.
That's not true, Your Honor.
Ms. Marsh says that Mr. Reed denies her children only when she does not allow him to sleep with her. That is psychotic, but Mr. Reed says it is all a lie, and Ms. Marsh once told him that the child isn't his. Here is how that case starts out.
You claim that Ms. Marsh has confessed to you that you may not be Tamari's biological father, and you believe she's trying to trap you into a relationship with her. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
So, Ms. Marsh, are you using baby Tamari to trap Mr. Reed?
Mr. Reed knows me and him are...
So let's get this straight. Mr. Reed met Ms. Marsh when she was just 18, and they got into a long-distance relationship that turned intimate down the line. But Mr. Reed didn't like that Ms. Marsh already had 2 kids before him, so he did not want an actual relationship. Ms. Marsh, on the other hand, says that sounds like a load of rubbish.
That was
Okay,
before
if
she
he
had
didn't
the
come
other.
for a relationship
That was before
with the
she had
child,
her other child.
Why did he, my granddaughter's third or fourth birthday,
He did my daughter,
your
my
whole
daughter's
birthday, the shopping,
everything.
the birthday party,
Spent
the cake.
$1,000 on toys, and then spent another $1,000
They wasn't in a
on her
relationship.
birthday
What
party.
man does that?
Me?
Oh, Mr. Reed says he's a trick for real. He isn't even trying to deny spending all of that money just for a crumb of what Ms. Marsh was offering. Good on you, man. But the bad news is that you don't have to be in a relationship to be a father, so that does not actually matter. Let's see what else they have to say.
In your mind, was this a relationship? Or were you...
She knew I was dating other women.
I never knew he was dating other women. On Torrance's birthday, he asked me to go on a trip with him to a resort with his family. When we get to Missouri, 2 women pop up at the hotel room, and he said, this is my wife. And I said, it's over.
Your Honor, on the way to the...
What?
Your Honor, on the way...
Hold on
I
now.
told her I would take her to meet my wife.
4 wives in this economy? Okay. I don't know about you, but that sounds really brave. Wait, is that even legal? Is that something we can actually do? Like people can just get married to 4 wives? This is one crazy case, and it is about to get worse.
I've never heard of a man taking a woman on vacation to meet their wife.
Exactly, exactly. And then when we got there, Your Honor, the girl, they was asking me, like, how do you know him? I'm like, how do you know him? She just met him.
The wife?
Yes.
She was a prospect.
He's
just
a
like
prospect.
Danielle was. I'm upset because her and the other person
We got
ruined
into
my
it.
birthday.
We got
They
into it.
ruined
No,
my birthday.
The guts on this man. He took his lady on vacation, invited another lady he'd never met, and told them they were going to be his wives. And he has the nerves to say they ruined his birthday? Really? And this happened just 1 month into the relationship. Now, it gets even worse.
In your mind, was this your boyfriend?
Yeah, in my mind, it was my boyfriend. We've been talking about being with each other. We've been talking about being with each other since I was 18.
Because she got upset at me because I was down there 2 weeks before I even seen her.
He telling me he loved me and all kinds of stuff. He want to get married. I didn't know nothing about him wanting for a wife.
Really? My mother addressed her. She's like Miss Marsh. My son told you. You knew my son was wanted for a wife.
I told his mother. No, Your Honor, I told his when his mom said
my mother's a Baptist.
Oh, that is a world of difference then. We have all got Mr. Reed wrong, folks. His mom isn't actually a Christian, she is a Baptist. And as we all know, Baptists don't believe in Jesus, right? No, wrong. Mr. Reed has no idea what he is talking about, and he is about to talk himself into even more trouble.
We were downtown talking, and his mom was like, I thought he told you that he wanted 4 wives. I said, no, your son didn't tell me, he tricked me. So it's a difference. I didn't know about no other wives until I got to St. Louis.
How could I trick a grown one?
You can see that Ms. Marsh really loves Mr. Reed, but you can similarly see that he doesn't care about her at all. To him, she is just one more prospect for his 4-wife mega plan, and once she does not fit into that plan, he just wants to discard her. Here is what happened when she found out she would be having his baby.
Then we went to the pregnancy center, we got an ultrasound, and then later on, he had left to go console a girl in California that was having a miscarriage.
You knew this?
Yes.
I knew afterwards.
She knew this young lady was down there in Columbus, Ohio, when I was down.
Actually, no, I didn't know. Okay, so me and him continued our relationship from...
Oh, okay. We can all see what is going on here. Mr. Reed is an old dude looking to prey on this young woman and telling her all these fantastic lies. And guess what? It is working. It is working a little bit too well.
About what I'm doing, but she have numerous men. Yes, you do.
Are you serious?
Yes,
Come
you
on
do.
now. Come on now.
Man.
Don't do that,
Really?
baby. Don't
Really?
do that, baby.
You didn't have a dude when you didn't have a man when I came.
But wait, what I don't understand is the baby's just a year old.
Exactly.
You saying you met him when you was 18?
Yeah.
So you've been running around with this, dealing with this for all these years?
No, Your Honor,
I didn't know it was like this.
I never stayed in Ohio.
Hold up, but Mr. Reed already said they were not in a relationship. So which is it? Was there a relationship or was there not a relationship? Because we need to clear that up. Anyway, let's get to the paternity question.
You accept during that time that she was carrying your child?
Yes, I accepted it, but I wasn't sure it was mine.
He don't want responsibilities.
Don't take like this. Only time I don't take care of her when we're not together.
You don't take care of a child
First
only
of all,
if they're
we're
with
not
the
even
mother.
sure that the child is mine. I'm just doing the job. I'm just doing.
This is so messed up. At this point, you kind of hope that Mr. Reed isn't this baby's daddy because he does not look or sound like the sort of fellow you would be proud to say is your dad. Anyway, it is time to find out if he is the father or not.
Mr. Reed, you are not the father.
Well, now I feel like the goofy. I done went through all this, and
that's why
all
you
the
got put in
time all the time I'm believing she knew this. I done flew all the way down here to look like a goofy, and you should feel.
But no, listen, hold on, Mr. Reed, hold on.
My name.
Hold on now.
Ms. Herman is hellbent on getting to the bottom of the line that Mr. Houston is the biological father of her 2-year-old son, but Mr. Herman says Ms. Herman is just making things up as he's not the biological father of her son. So who's lying? We need to find out.
You are here to prove that Mr. Houston is the biological father of your 2-year-old son, Corey. You contend the defendant duped you and was living a double life. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Houston, you claim that you are not the biological father of Ms. Herman's son and will clear your name when the results are read. Is that correct? Explain.
A liar, cheater, and womanizer, all in one sentence and all directed to one man? Now that's wild. Mr. Houston standing there and unable to defend himself only means one thing, and we all know what that is. Let's dig deeper like Ms. Herman the Investigadget.
What made your woman's intuition kick in?
So during the time I was pregnant, I had told Mr. Houston that I was pregnant. He said that he would be there for me and my child. After 2 doctor's appointments, he stopped showing up. So I got a little suspicious. So I got my investigation glasses on, and I found out via Facebook.
A wedding ring can still be overlooked because divorces are a thing, but 5 children? Those 5 children aren't going nowhere. To top it all off, Mr. Houston kept that a secret from Ms. Herman, and now that's a big deal. Mr. Houston might be a liar for real after all. But let's hear what the man has to say for himself.
Mr. Houston, you never informed her of these very important details?
When I met her as a gentleman. Before anything, before my father, before my dad, before my liar, before my cheater, before any of these things at all. I'm a man first.
Well, you over here doing a Shakespearean play. Tell me what happened. How is it you end up getting this woman pregnant?
Mr. Houston making his family seem like the ones on the sidelines sums it all up. Oh yeah, he's a cheater too, for sure. Leaving 5 kids and their mother at home to go lay with another woman without protection is a different type of betrayal to his legally married wife and even Ms. Herman.
Listen, how did you meet Mr. Houston?
I met him at a club. He was very charming and appealing at the time, buying me shots of Patron. You know, that's an expensive drink. He also had a truck with rims on it and with nice, nice beats in it. So at the young age that I am, I'm thinking like, I'm young and naive. I'm thinking like, he's got it going on.
When did you two become intimate? That same night?
Ms. Herman, the investigadget, thought she would see a stiletto somewhere under the bed. Little did she know, Mr. Houston knows his coin real good, and he was lucky enough to have a friend who has a place to run situations like that. Again, another name Ms. Herman gave him Sticks. He's a womanizer.
Did your wife have any idea you were leaving the house at 2 in the morning and sleeping with another woman?
See, the thing is this, we were already on the verge of going through a divorce. Things wasn't what she expected it to be.
Look at his eyebrows.
Maybe you didn't understand my question. Did your wife know you left the house to go sleep with another woman?
No, she did not.
Okay.
Mr. Houston wants to play this out as an emotional trauma? Trust Judge Lauren to still do justice to this one, even if Mr. Houston continues his Shakespeare character, having 5 kids and still needs other children to keep seeing his dad's features? Again, this man is a liar.
End of the day, you do have to understand that when you bring children into the world with paternity questions, that's not being a superhero. That's not being the kind of father.
Speak on it, Judge. That's not being a superhero, Mr. Houston. Everyone knows Mr. Houston just loves the pleasure he's getting, but his pleasure has consequences. And now he's a father of many children.
I met her at the club. I took her home that night. I had no intentions on getting her pregnant.
But you did not use protection, did you?
I didn't know this woman.
He's lying.
I didn't know her.
He did not use protection.
Young gun, I didn't know this woman. I didn't know her
He
at
must
all.
be talking about one of the other girls, because it wasn't me.
Kicking every day. I wanted something else. It had nothing to do with my wife.
Taking a minute to feel pity for Mr. Houston's ex-wife because neither Mr. Houston or Ms. Herman will. That woman is watching the man that is supposed to be her husband trading words about using a latex or not. Oh Lord, have mercy. No one should have to go through that, but unfortunately, that woman married a man like Mr. Houston who is making her go through it.
One night, me laying in her bed, her phone vibrating in the bed. Now, mind you, it's 2 a.m. Who is this text messages coming through 2 a.m.? You know what she said? Don't worry about it.
On my life.
You know what I did when she told me don't worry about it? Because I gave her my time. I left my home to come check on her, you know.
It's a privilege for her.
You did. Thank you.
It actually was
that
a
you
privilege.
left your wife. I'm second choice. Thank you. I appreciate it.
It wasn't second choice.
Back to the argument of who really is the baby's biological father. Mr. Houston believes Ms. Herman has been handling her business outside, and that baby can't be his. Ms. Herman said she would be happy if he's not the baby's father. Okay, we can just skip to the part we've all been waiting for.
Mr. Houston, you are not the father.
Yes. Thank you, Jesus. I ain't got to talk to this man not no more.
So you just did all this?
I don't want to hear nothing else you got to say. I'm
cool,
free.
You know?
Yep.
Miss Herman, I asked you,
who came to the
was there any other man?
When we were sleeping together, we were sleeping together. I slept with somebody
I'm a
prior.
little tight right now.
Ms. Capples won't allow Mr. Harris to walk all over her and deny her son. Ms. Capples is certain Mr. Harris is the biological father of her 15-month-old baby, and he and his girlfriend better get ready to start being responsible for her child. Mr. Harris and his girlfriend are on the other side of the rope, so what is it going to be? Let's see.
You say you are 100% certain that the defendant is your 15-month-old son, Jasion's biological father, and today he's going to put his name on the dotted line right in front of his girlfriend. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Harris, you and your girlfriend say there is no way you are Jasion's father, and once the results are revealed...
Okay, there was no relationship. It was just a pleasurable thing to both parties. That's cool, but now there's a baby in the mix. So how are these grown-ups grown-ups that were enjoying the activity that resulted in baby Jayceon's production going to handle this? That's the problem Judge Lauren is trying to solve right now. But first, who's the father?
The details.
Me and Mr. Harris started talking. We used to go to high school together.
I didn't go to high school with her.
And we were Facebook friends. Mr. Harris, I made him my man crush Monday. He's a good guy, hardworking, good father. We messaged back and forth on Facebook for a while. After that, we exchanged numbers.
At least Mr. Harris was honest with his girlfriend before hopping into the relationship. However, Ms. Kapples doesn't really care about that. She's here to prove Mr. Harris is the father, but she was seeing another man too. So it gets tricky from here, but Ms. Kapples says she has evidence to prove her case. Let's hope it's what she's saying.
As you can see, my son Jayceon was born January 9th, 2016.
Okay.
Me and Mr. Harris were intimate for 9 months, all the way up until May, the beginning of May.
No.
September, we started talking around September, Mr. Harris. Anyways, like I said, all the way up until the beginning of May.
Ms. Mayfield is out here in court fighting for her man like she didn't know there was the possibility of him having a child. Ms. Kapples' evidence seems to check out. But hey, what did Mr. Harris mean that he didn't know the real name of the woman he was digging down for a while? Crazy things really do happen behind closed doors.
This court, and I want to ask her a question. Mr. Harris just testified to the fact he didn't even know Ms. Caples' name. Is that true?
When we contacted Mr. Harris and told him that Ms. Shatera Caples summoned him for a DNA test, he said, I don't know who you're talking about. I said, Muffin?
That is correct.
The fact that Mr. Harris didn't know Ms. Kapples' name is just ridiculous. However, Mr. Harris is doubting he's the father of the baby because a friend of Ms. Kapples said so? Oh wait, he said Ms. Kapples said she met with another man. This is a spider web we need to get out of really fast.
Because there was no commitment.
No.
There's no marriage. There's no nothing. So it's easy to blame Ms. Capel, but you also have to look at your man. Because he participated.
He was my man at the time.
It doesn't matter. It's your man now.
I was actually there in the beginning, like buying Pampers and clothes and stuff, but like I said, Ms. Caples.
Ms. Mayfield is acting like her man is a righteous fellow again. No, he isn't. That man was continuously having sexual relationship with a woman he didn't even know what her real name was. That isn't a sign of a good man, Ms. Mayfield.
The hospital to see the baby. Did you sign the birth certificate?
No, I did not.
Because you did not want to, or you were not even asked?
Both. I wasn't asked, and I had my doubts. I had been had my doubts.
So you didn't ask him to sign the birth certificate, Ms. Caples, and why is that if you knew he was the child's biological father?
He wasn't even there for the birth.
I
mean, we did. So what? Were you at work when she went into labor? Probably, but you were at the hospital.
Everybody around town? Yeah, that may be true that the child is for another man, but Mr. Harris, not being at the hospital because of work is a baseless excuse if we will be for real. Mr. Harris can just say he didn't want to be there because he didn't believe he's the father of the baby.
Time he never showed, you were angry, and so then you didn't.
I wasn't worried about that. Him signing the birth certificate at that point. You want to act like you ain't the daddy? We can.
But
act
you
like
are
that.
here today saying now he has to sign it in front of his girlfriend.
He's gonna sign it in front of his girlfriend.
today.
I don't know if I'm here or not. What does that mean?
But my point is this: if it didn't, hold on.
Ms. Kapples' anger took the better part of her, but she now wants to correct that in open court. Mr. Harris doesn't agree with Ms. Kapples that he's the biological father. Interestingly, Mr. Harris's girlfriend is also right beside claiming the child doesn't belong to her man. This is a tough one.
Is 15 months old. How many times have you seen him?
Not a lot.
Yeah.
She won't let me see him.
Your Honor, let him be around.
She won't let me
Yes,
see him.
his family member sees him all the
quite a
time.
few times.
His family member sees him all the time, and we'll go over there and go see him. She don't know that, but she. Oh no, I don't want Alexis around him. For what?
Why would I
never
want you
even
around
spoke
him? You're
two words
staying in
to her.
my hospital room. No, I don't want you around.
These three grown-ups wouldn't even let anyone understand what they are saying because no one would shut up for the other person to speak. And what is it about these two women already having a feud outside the man situation? Getting tubes tied and working in the hospital? Okay, let's wrap this up. We need the result right now.
Mr. Harris, you are not the father.
You didn't sleep with no one else.
Ms.
I
Caples.
would like to publicly apologize to Mr. Harris. I honestly thought that it was yours. We messed around. We were intimate a lot, and you know we were. It was a very big possibility that it was yours. So I apologize from the heart, sincerely. I'm sorry about that. I really am.
I accept.
Ms. Butts and her mother are in court to prove Mr. Richardson is the biological father of her son, Quartier. and Mr. Richardson is also side by side in court with his mother to prove Ms. Butts is lying about the paternity of the child. Okay, it's a battle of the mothers and their children messing around.
You say you and Mr. Richardson had a brief but passionate relationship that led to the birth of your son, Quatier. You and your mother contend Mr. Butts originally accepted and embraced your son, but has since become an elusive deadbeat who refuses to acknowledge paternity.
$2 and a cigarette? We must be missing something here. That's all it takes for Miss Butts to get undressed? That can't be true. But wait, if it's true, Mr. Richardson also felt it was right to have sexual relations with a woman who collects $5 and 3 cigarettes from the next dude. Maybe both of them are a good match. And we won't forget the mama's boy comment, to be fair. Coming here with his mama does justice to that, but that applies to Ms. Butts too, though.
You're saying, Ms. Butts, your child needs a father?
Yeah, of course.
Quatier is 3 years old. Beautiful little boy.
Awesome. Amazing.
And how many times has Mr. Richardson seen?
Three times. When he was a month old, he was outside. He met me outside. Oh, he my son. He looked just like me. The whole 9 months he was his. The whole 9 months.
I never said he looked like me. I never said he looked like me.
Oh, Mom, your grandson here. Your grandson here. She came outside. She ain't hold him. She just looked at him. Oh, he's cute.
Mr. Richardson says he wants to inspect the baby. Now that's real funny. Inspect the baby. That child isn't a car somebody should have told Mr. Richardson. If Mr. Richardson wanted to be sure about that baby's paternity, a DNA is the only way to do that. Not checking his toes or skin tone.
Let's move on. So the bottom line is you really said, I want to inspect this child.
Looking for a place to stay. That's all you want. You're just looking for a place to stay. I come back, you would have never do. That's the father.
You say you saw the baby 9 months ago, and you did that purposefully because you wanted to inspect the baby, and you mean it.
Right.
Take the clothes off, see, does it have my features, my attributes? Does it look like my family?
Okay, we misjudged Mr. Richardson. He did want a DNA test. But at the same time, Ms. Butts said he wasn't ready to pay for it. Oops. You can't want a DNA test done and not want to pay for it, Mr. Richardson. That factor works better when there's money to make it happen.
I want to go back to the pregnancy now. When you found out you were pregnant, Miss Butts, did you inform Mr. Richardson?
I called Mr. Richardson February 14th, 2013. He was with his cousin. I texted him, wanted to spend time with him for Valentine's Day. He ignored me. So I texted him, was like, that's all right, I'll spend time with my unborn baby. He called, was like, what? And I was like, I'm pregnant. He was excited. Oh yeah, she pregnant. She pregnant. The whole 9 months he was his.
Mr. Richardson had a rough past, noted. But this man is saying Ms. Butts was already with another dude by the time he was done serving his time behind bars. This puzzle keeps getting worse. From Ms. Butts getting naked for $2 and a cigarette to another person being in the picture after the pregnancy. Oh well.
Condoms every time, Your Honor, first of all.
Lies.
First and foremost. We use condoms every time.
He did say he would say that.
Then
lies. The first time we did it, he held the condom between his index finger and his thumb.
What you're saying is he had the protection with him, but you all did not use it.
He ain't use it. He opened it, but he ain't use it. He was holding it the whole time.
Okay. And so when you gave birth, what happened? Did you let him know? Was he there?
He wasn't there, not at all.
So who are we going to believe? Mr. Richardson says Ms. Butts is lying through her teeth and vice versa. Such a shame. Anyway, Mr. Richardson is here to tell the court the only reason Ms. Butt left the father's namespace on the birth certificate blank is because she doesn't know who the father is. That's an interesting fact from Mr. Richardson. Let's see what's up.
When a woman doesn't know who the father is, doesn't she leave the birth certificate blank?
And so this is a sample of the birth certificate, and you say when a woman doesn't know who the father is, you leave the father's name blank.
In this case, she knows who the father is. It's not my name. It's not my name.
So you're saying she put another man on the birth certificate?
Exactly.
Yep, the one that supported me my whole pregnancy. The one that manned up and did his job.
Because that's not my baby.
Because
that's not my baby.
Did his job.
Oh, wow. That's indeed an interesting point. We can all see where Mr. Richardson is coming from. Maybe he has a point. However, Miss Butts says that was just the man that was there for her, while the baby's supposed biological father was behind bars. Another interesting point.
Putting that other man's name on the birth certificate, he is now the legal father under the law. But you're asserting that Mr. Richardson is the biological father.
How you saying?
So you've already added that name. Under the law, that's the man that's responsible for child support. That's the man that has a legal right to see him. Listen, legally under the law, that would be the man who'd be responsible to take care of the child.
And he did.
And that's the person that the state would collect child support in support of the child.
Ms. Butt's story is emotional. But putting another man on that birth certificate is a whole new level. The birth certificate could have been empty instead of that. But since the other man was happy to do it, guess he's ready to take up the responsibility, and according to Ms. Butt, he's been more responsible than the supposed actual father.
You don't have to be in his life. That's an amazing child. Like, he will bring a whole lot of joy to your life. You got a bad day, he knows how to bring you up.
And so, listen, does he remind you in ways of Mr. Richardson?
Yes.
He does?
Yeah.
You say that with?
Yeah. The nasty attitude. I don't have arched eyebrows.
Looks nothing like.
Alright.
Doesn't.
Anthony has.
So you say you feel like he has his personality?
Nasty attitude may not be a reason Mr. Richardson is the father, though, but some things are hereditary too. Anyway, we need to know if Mr. Richardson is the biological father of Courtier or not. So let's see this result.
Mr. Richardson, you are the father.
Sorry! Look at my handsome baby. Just like you. That's okay. Do you need my glasses, sir? That's his twin.
Ms. Wolf is here to save her relationship with her fiancé, Mr. Cottle, and that can only happen if Mr. Cottle is the biological father of her 3-month-old child. It's a twisted situation because that 3-month-old may or may not have a family, depending on the result of the DNA test.
You're in court claiming revenge sex has now put your relationship in jeopardy with the defendant. You say the only way to save the family you were hoping to build is to prove to your fiancé that he fathered your 3-month-old son, Zane. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Cottle, you say you're not a doctor, but when a woman is having sex with more than one man at the same time, the odds are against you.
Yeah, right. That revenge sex story is still a little bit off, though. Ms. Wolf just explained she was having a relationship with 2 men at the same time, and they both knew. It's not funny, but Ms. Wolf seems to see it as a funny thing. So it's better we hear from Mr. Cottle.
So, Mr. Cottle, tell me what's going on in this relationship. Is the relationship on the line for you?
It is when it comes to Zane, and when the fact that he's not mine. I work 24/7. I not only just work night shift, I actually wake up to go back to work, to go lump another truck, to make the extra money, to be able to buy the diapers, the wipes.
So in your estimation, you are supporting Zane?
In a very typical kind of way, yes.
Mr. Cottle seems to be doing the best he can because according to his explanation, he has been working non-stop to be able to provide the little he can for the baby. But as it stands, he's having doubts about the paternity of the baby.
We met on a dating site, and I moved in with him about a week after meeting him. And 2 weeks in our relationship, I invited my friend to come hang out with me. And while I was sleeping, I woke up and I went to the bedroom door, and the door was locked. So I kept pounding on the door for them to open it, and I saw my friend's underwear on the floor. So right then and there, I knew that they had sex, and then I asked them. It was like, yeah, we did have sex, I'm sorry.
Oh, Miss Wolf got her heart broken, and that type of revenge is the best thing she and Andrew could think of. That's fine too. It would have been fine if a child was not in the picture, but little 3-month-old Zane is here, and now it's a mess for real.
Mr. Chittum, thank you for joining us today. You were in a relationship with Miss Wolf first.
That is correct, Your Honor.
And you started a sexual relationship?
Yes, Your Honor.
And you all were living together?
That is correct.
And then she said she invited her friend to come, and you and the friend slept together?
That is correct.
So now how do you find out that Miss Wolf was then intimate with your friend, Mr. Cottle?
It's even hard to know who the victim or the villain is in this story. Mr. Chittum was a cheat, same as Ms. Wolf and Mr. Cottle? Oh well, let's say maybe he betrayed his friend's trust by sleeping with his friend's girl. Everyone here is claiming to be the victims while they are all villains in different ways.
Also interesting is the court uncovered a couple of Facebook photos. Now, this is you, Ms. Wolf, kissing Mr. Chittum.
Yes, sir.
And on the bottom of that screen, which you can't see, you were a Dallas Cowboy fan.
Yes, Your Honor.
Then we uncovered this photo. This is you and Mr. Cottle in pretty much the exact same pose.
Miss Wolf was happily two-timing these 2 men. As she said, she loves those 2 teams. Let's assume she was talking about the sports teams and the men supporting them. However, Mr. Chittum thinks he's impotent, huh? What does he mean other women have tried with him and failed? This is interesting.
Did your sexual relationship with Ms. Wolf end once she found out she was pregnant?
No, Your Honor.
So you continued to have sex with her?
Yes, Your Honor.
Until when?
3 weeks before Zane was born.
That's not true, Your Honor.
It's not true because he is a pathological liar. He likes to lie about everything.
Mr. Chittum, is this why you agreed to submit to a polygraph test?
Seems Mr. Chittum isn't been a pathological liar about the fact that he and Ms. Wolf were still having sexual relations. It looks like Ms. Wolf is hiding something, and now Judge Lauren needs to do some real questioning.
Wait a minute.
I wasn't dating Andrew until I was about 3 months along, Your Honor.
So you're testifying that you were sleeping with him during the pregnancy?
Yes.
But when you started being with Mr. Cottle, you stopped sleeping with Mr. Chittum?
Yes, Your Honor.
Your Honor, I'm gonna be completely honest with you. It was actually January of this year is whenever we stopped having relationships.
Ms. Wolf may want to start revealing the truth herself before Mr. Chittum's evidence will do justice to that. Mr. Cottle is there looking like he's going through the worst time of his life. Well, this may really be the worst time of his life.
Mr. Chittum, you have that phone now?
I do, Your
Let
Honor.
me see it. So this message was from approximately 3 weeks ago, 3 to 4 weeks ago. Wow, are you joking me? He does nothing for you? God, he got me so angry. And then the next line is, come blank me.
Just because
and it doesn't,
that does not mean it happened.
It doesn't say talk, but it says come blank me.
The pathological liar here is Ms. Wolf. Mr. Cottle needs to let that woman go. And what did Judge Lauren say about crying wolf? Oh, that's really perfect because Ms. Wolf is just spitting out gibberish. At this point, we need to know who the biological father of the 3-month-old baby really is.
It has been determined by this court. The biological father is Mr. Cottle. You are the biological father. And so where do we go from here?
Mr. Reed has been constantly doubting the paternity of baby Lucas, and for that reason, his relationship with Ms. Whittier is so rocky. Maybe this couple being in Judge Lauren's courtroom will help them move forward with their relationship. Let's find out.
You say that you are sure Mr. Reed is the father of your 22-month-old son, Lucas, but the defendant's paternity doubts have led to constant fighting and tension in your relationship. You desperately hope to prove he is the father to save your family. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Reed, you believe it is medically impossible that you are Lucas's father.
Oops. That is the wrongest thing anyone can say to end an argument. What was Ms. Whittier thinking? That would forever ring a bell in any man's head. Ms. Whittier made a mess and she regrets it, so only the DNA test result could steer the relationship boat in the right direction again.
How did your relationship begin?
He tried to save my toddler that he thought was drowning. He didn't realize she could swim.
Oh, that's cute. Good reflexes, Mr. Reed.
It was a baby and she was adorable, cute little stubby thing running around the pool in a little swimmer diaper.
Aw, that's so cute. Such an adorable and fairy tale kind of story. Nothing should have gone wrong in this type of relationship except for regular fights that all couples have. However, sometimes those regular fights seem to be tougher than the others.
He moved in mid-September, and we found out we were pregnant the first week in November.
I was terrified.
You were?
I mean, outright terrified.
Yeah,
I didn't know what I was gonna do. I mean, name me one parent that does know what they're doing, first time. That's what my mom said.
Did you have any doubt during that time that the child was yours?
No, not at the time of the pregnancy, I didn't know.
Okay.
That was truly disgusting. The ex in question was just trying to scatter something he couldn't have, and that meant one thing: he was still hung up on Ms. Whittier. Now the story that is straight out of a book started to crumble. You wouldn't blame Mr. Reed. No man likes any other man sending rated stuff like that to their woman, even if it's an ex.
Did you believe it was the ex and Ms. Whittier in the video?
I think that's what he thought, and I
didn't
tried.
think who it was. I didn't see no faces or nothing.
I tried to tell him that's not me.
I believe that it's a possibility that could be her. I mean,
And your point is why are you sending this video unless it's you and her?
yeah, why would he do it?
Anyone would believe it's their woman if the faces aren't showing, so again, we can't blame Mr. Reed. This couple's story is beautiful, and if anyone should be blamed here, it will be the exes in the story.
The baby, even with your doubts.
He was there for a lot of it, but then the same ex come back. Well, look at your family. Your family doesn't have these health problems. They don't have these medical problems, and these are, only inherited things. Well, that's not entirely true,
So, Mr. Reed, you were there on the day Lucas was born?
The emotional roller coaster of this couple doesn't seem like it will stop. Mr. Reed loves that baby with all his heart, and seeing Ms. Whittier's expression, she seems to love that man right there in the stand to death. Those X's,
You on Lucas's birth certificate?
No, ma'am.
He's not.
That lady came in there and said, we cannot put his name on the birth certificate since she is still technically married, and she is.
Oh.
Yeah.
We left that fact out.
Oh, there's a husband? This should have been established since the beginning of the story. That's not a problem except for the part that Ms. Whittier hasn't been in contact with that husband and she's been unable to get a divorce. So, no legal father for baby Lucas yet.
On its surface, when they first told me, I laughed because I didn't realize how serious it was. We all hear the word albino. Nobody actually thinks about what it means. And suddenly you realize it doesn't just mean that he's pale and blonde and blue-eyed. It means that his skin can't take sunlight.
The only huge doubt I had is the albinism. That was a physical proof.
Yeah, anyone would doubt that, Mr. Reed. Most especially if there's no albino in the parent's immediate family.
And this court wants to understand, is albinism passed genetically?
Albinism is passed genetically from the parents to the child, but depending on which gene is affected, depends on whether both parents or one parent passes it.
Oh.
Normally, the albinism trait is recessive.
That's a good touch of medical explanation, but that's not helping to clear Mr. Reed's doubts. And again, no one can blame that man. So it's just better we get to the result to either clear Mr. Reed's doubt or forget about our fairy tale.
Mr. Reed, you are the father. I can see how relieved you are.
I'm shaking. I'm shaking, man. This is the happiest day of my life. Aside from him being born, this is the happiest day of my life.
So therefore, if my family want to roll up on me,
why not bring them in the house?
They can't.
I sent him some money, $250 to be exact, and thought he was coming back, and he never came back, and he never called me.
Did you bring proof?
So afterwards, I did contact his mom after I had the baby.
I don't play with children, stay in the child's place. You need to
Wait.
What?
And she was like 5 or 6 months. I was at my aunt's house. His mom came and picked my baby up. Her and her daughter came and picked my baby up.
I did not pick your baby up, Jasmine.
What in the world?
Your baby. I was about to take the baby with me. The baby started crying.
My baby.
For a moment, it looked like things were about to get very physical. That's what happens when DNA test results leave everyone, especially those involved, in utter shock.
I don't play with children, stay in the child's place. You need to
Wait.
Miss Bradley, your
family knows better.
Miss Williams is furious at Mr. Jackson for denying their so-called miracle baby. She admits to past mistakes but remains confident that Mr. Jackson is the child's father.
Ms. Williams, you are furious that your husband Lee ignores your miracle baby Wyatt and denies he is the father. You admit you made mistakes in the past, but you plan to prove paternity today in hope of saving your marriage. That correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
The stakes are incredibly high. Mr. Jackson claims he knows Miss Williams cheated, and if the test proves he's not the father, it's the end of their marriage.
Almost 3 years that our son is his, which is something I shouldn't have to do, but it's to please him and his family. And I'm so sick of them. That's the reason why we're here, because he's following behind his family and not his wife. I'm his wife. I'm there for him 24/7, not them.
Miss Williams can't believe what's happening. She says Mr. Jackson listens to his family more than her, and that's what brought them to court in the first place.
Why does he call you Lee?
Yes, Your Honor. I don't know why, but that's what he's been calling me, so that's why I think it's not my child.
No, it's the way you treat him. You treat my older kids like they're yours versus Wyatt.
I treat him awesome, like he's mine.
He treats them better than he treats Wyatt, the new baby.
Yes, ma'am.
It's heartbreaking. Mr. Jackson treats this child differently from their other kids, and Miss Williams says that's deeply painful, especially after losing 2 children.
Okay, so take me to the first doubt.
Well, I got a text message to prove right here.
Text messages?
Yes, cheating.
Jerome, let me see those, please.
Read them word for word.
And these text messages you say explain your doubt.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. These are text messages you found between Miss Williams, your wife, and another man.
Yes, Your Honor.
But those texts are to ignore. She literally told another man she had fun with him. Any man seeing that would instantly think something's going on.
I know you had fun with me, with the wink emoji
How can
and
you
the
deny that?
fire sign.
First of all, I'm a tomboy. I play football. He know I have male friends. We have mutual male friends together that we all chill and kick it with. So it's not like this person he does not know of or about or even hang with.
Miss Williams tries to explain it away, saying she was just joking. She even claims the man is someone Mr. Jackson knows. Honestly, that sounds sketchy.
Everybody's putting emojis, but other than that, I did not cheat on him and he knows.
Well, I would say this. How I often gauge things in relationships is if you saw that message between your husband and another woman, and at the end she said, I'm about to call you, make sure you answer, and I know you had fun with me, wink, bye.
Even Judge Lauren has doubts. A text like that would make anyone suspicious. And she says there's no way to overlook how damaging those words are.
The friend says, call again, I didn't see anything. And then you say, you playing games and I need to talk to you. Then you write, I'm pregnant, can you answer the phone, please?
Now, when you have doubts, Your Honor?
Technically, if you have no one to communicate with and you're pregnant again due to the fact that you just lost 2 babies.
Miss Williams then reveals she was grieving when she sent those texts. After losing their babies, she says Mr. Jackson left her and she just needed someone to talk to.
You're saying these text messages occurred during a time after the 2 miscarriages. You all separated.
Yes, Mr. Lee was still sleeping with me in the time that we were broke and up. So, Mr. Lee, yes, you were. We made it official in November, the end of November. Me and Mr. Jackson got back together.
She also says that even if the baby is proven to be Mr. Jackson's, she wants his family completely out of their lives. She's clearly had enough.
Always have them in the way, and they're always in his ear. And at the end of the day, he was back with me in November. We danced in the sheets unprotectedly, and after that, he told me his job had to go to Florida. Come to find out, I bumped into his sister a week later. She was like, oh girl,
Then comes another bombshell. Miss Williams admits she slept with someone else. She says it happened while they were broken up as a form of retaliation.
Akayla, what's your last
Bradley.
name? Bradley. And you are what relationship to Mr. Jackson?
His cousin.
You're his cousin.
Yes,
So, Miss Bradley, what do you know?
I see her creeping with my own eyes.
Thank you.
girl.
He's at work.
Girl.
When she was staying in the apartments, he's at work. She's out with other people. They'll talk outside the car for a minute. Then they'll get in the car like 30, 40 minutes.
Mr. Jackson's cousin joins in and says she's seeing Miss Williams hanging with other men while Mr. Jackson is working. Tensions between the families are obvious.
If Lee at work, it's not his car. So what did you out there for?
Thank you.
So I have family members that's coming from out of state.
Why
I'm
not
from
bring
New
them in the
Orleans,
house?
y'all are from Georgia. So therefore, if my family want to roll up on me,
Why not bring them in the house?
They can, because I pay those bills.
Why not bring them inside the house?
Miss Williams says her family is ready to pay for a divorce. She even questions why the Jacksons never welcomed her properly into the family home.
End of the day, the stakes are high here because this baby's almost 2 years old. This is a time when children are establishing very real bonds with their parents, beginning to look to their fathers, say dada and mama, and begin to talk. And your wife has testified that you treat this baby differently.
Now, it's time for the results. This courtroom has heard enough. The judge is ready to deliver the final verdict and the truth is about to be revealed.
Jackson, you are the father.
Mr. Maxson is in court today, claiming that Miss Gearing is doing what she does best, pinning babies on innocent men. He insists he's not the father and wants to clear his name.
Mr. Maxson, you testify that you had to open your case today because the defendant is doing what she does best, pinning babies on innocent men.
Yes, Your Honor.
You say she is now seeking financial help from your mother, and in order to stop her from taking advantage of your family.
Wait, did he say she likes to pin babies on men? That's a huge accusation. Has she done this before? Miss Gearing, on the other hand, believes Mr. Maxson is the father.
For one, Your Honor, I didn't know anything about the baby until after she had the child.
And so how did you find out?
She contacted my mom and told my mom about it, and my mom told me once I found out, I had my mom to contact her so I can get a paternity test.
Things get wild fast, mister. Maxson says he only found out about the child after it was born. Instead of contacting him directly, Miss Gearing reached out to his mother. Suspicious much?
I was pregnant. He was in Las Vegas with another woman. I thought he was going for music. I contacted Trinidad and I told him I was pregnant. He said he wanted to come back. I sent him some money, $250 to be exact, and thought he was coming back, and he never came back and he never called me.
Did you bring proof?
So afterwards, I did contact his mom after I had the baby.
Plot twist. Miss Gearing claims Mr. Maxson's mother saw the baby and instantly instantly accepted the child as her grandchild, but the mother denies it ever happened. Someone's definitely lying.
You said that's my grandbaby.
No, I never told her that.
I know 200% that that's his child.
If you
All
knew
right.
200% that was my child when I asked you for a paternity test, at first when I found out and you refused, you would have gave it to me.
Because my baby was too small.
So hold on,
Yes, I did deny the
Mr.
first
Maxson, I need to hear that.
Miss Gearing says she didn't do a DNA test because she was going through a lot emotionally. She felt there was no point since Mr. Maxson wasn't there when the baby was born. Still sounds off.
We actually, when I went back to Mississippi with my grandmother, and I did contact him first on Facebook, and it just kicked off from there. And then he moved back here to Atlanta, so I came back, and he was at my house.
So you knew each other before?
Yes, we been knew each other when we was younger, stayed on the same street.
Apparently, there was never a real relationship between them. Miss Gearing says she messaged him on Facebook, and before long, they ended up in bed at her grandmother's house.
With no protection.
No protection.
So apparently she was trying to stick a baby on him.
But hold on, no. The issue I'm having is that, okay, were you dating anybody else at that time?
No,
because I mean, this was the first night.
I wasn't dating anyone.
And it gets sneakier, mister. Maxson says Miss Gearing was already in a relationship at the time. She'd even hush him when her boyfriend called so she could talk without suspicion.
It's really not about him being a dummy. It's really about his doubt.
We wasn't a couple. We was just, we'll kick it every now and then.
Having sex unprotected.
Basically.
It was, and that's a lie too, Your Honor. We was using protection. Then this is another reason why I say that this child is not mine. She probably was taking the condom.
And then there's this bizarre claim, mister. Maxson says they always used condoms, and if she got pregnant, it's only because she injected herself with his sperm afterward. Wild.
You always used protection.
Yes, Your Honor.
With Miss Gearing.
Yes, Your Honor.
Never once.
Never once.
Did the condom break?
No.
Did you not use one?
Never.
And Miss Gearing, you're saying that is a complete
We
lie.
never used protection. Honestly, from the first day, we never used protection.
Protection? Really? His mother adds more fuel to the fire, saying the baby doesn't look like her son and doesn't have asthma something all of Maxson's other kids have.
When do I call you, Jasmine?
You haven't reached out
You
to my
always
baby.
reached out to
and
me.
ma'am, I do have evidence from when I did reach out to
I would
Trinard.
like to see that.
Here you go.
You.
In January of 2016, I asked him, can you at least see how your child is doing? He texted me 2 months later, asked for a favor to borrow some money, and I told him no.
Good thing the judge stepped in to stop the yelling. It's basically a war between Miss Gearing and Mr. Maxson's mom. Still, Miss Gearing insists she just wants him to be a father.
Message on January 30th, 2016.
Yes, ma'am.
So you sent a picture of Alana.
Yes, ma'am.
And you type, you can ask how she's doing.
Yeah.
And the response was nothing.
Nothing. As you can see, it's blank.
Miss Gearing even shows messages where Mr. Maxson asks her for money while ignoring her offers to let him check on the child. That doesn't help his image at all.
For your baby, yes, I would give. That still doesn't say that's my grandbaby.
Ms. Williams, you're telling me what you did for the baby or what you would do for the baby.
But
Mr.
what
Maxson, what have you done for Alana?
Nothing.
Nothing. I asked her for a blood test, a DNA test. She refused.
Mr. Maxson says he's done nothing for the baby because he doesn't believe it's his. He asked for a DNA test, but Miss Gearing refused. So, where does that leave us?
What?
And she was like 5 or 6 months. I was at my aunt's house. His mom came and picked my baby up. Her and her daughter came and picked my baby up.
I did not pick your baby up, Jasmine.
What in the world?
Your baby. I was about to take the baby with me. The baby started crying.
My baby.
Even Judge Lauren looks confused now. Everyone said their piece. It's finally time for the DNA results to tell us the truth. Here comes the judge's verdict.
Mr. Maxson, you are the father.
I knew it.
From lovers to enemies, Mr. Black wants out of everything, including removing his last name from Miss Rockmore's 4-month-old son.
Mr. Black, you say you're here today to finally prove that you are not the biological father of 4-month-old.
Yes, Your Honor.
You say when the results reveal you are not the father, you no longer want the child to have your last name.
Yes, Your Honor.
Miss Rockmore is disgusted by his repeated rejection. Even Mr. Black's mother is in court, but whose side will she take?
When I met Miss Rockmore, we had sex on the first night. I got to know her, and when I was getting to know her, her ex was still involved, and I believe he still got something to do with her while we was trying to get to know each other, and I don't know what they had going on, but I mean, that's one of my doubts.
Miss Rockmore admits she slept with Mr. Black the same day they met. She was attracted to him and says she wasn't seeing anyone else at the time. Mr. Black's face showed doubt, but he stayed quiet.
Miss Rockmore, sex with somebody unprotected after you just walking around an apartment
complex. It was just more because I really liked him.
Tell me.
It was just more because I really was, like, I was just instantly attracted to him when I first seen him. Yeah, I shouldn't have had sex with him the first night, but, you know, it happened.
So bottom line is you did, and there was no protection used.
Yeah.
Mr. Black says he doubted her because her ex was still around during their time together. He recalls seeing the ex take Miss Rockmore to the store. She had even told him that it was her ex.
I'm doubtful because at the time I was there and I was talking to her, that period of time, I seen her ex involved with her. I don't know if she's capable of having sex with me.
So you said you saw her with her ex?
Yes, ma'am. He walked past me while I was at her house talking to her, and he went and took her to the store.
Judge questioned Mr. Black's suspicion, asking if just going to a store was enough to assume cheating. Mr. Black replied that no man stays in a woman's life without expecting something in return.
When you were talking, was this during the window of conception? Because you were doing more than talking since you standing here now. This during the window of conception? So I'm trying to understand the doubt, Mr. Black, because you say I'm doubtful that the child could be mine even though I slept with her during the window of conception without protection.
Miss Rontmore said she told her mom first when she found out she was pregnant. After visiting the doctor, she called Mr. Black and showed him the sonogram, but he didn't believe her.
So now, Miss Rockmore, at some point you find out you're pregnant.
Yes, ma'am. The first person that I told was my mom, and that's because she went to the doctor with me. As soon as I left the doctor, I called Mr. Black to let him know that I was pregnant. And at the time, he didn't believe me. I showed him a sonogram picture. Then that's when he believed me.
Mr. Black submitted a calendar marking the days they were intimate. Claimed the dates didn't add up, but the judge pointed out how close the dates were, suggesting he could be the father. The courtroom clapped.
So you believe there's no way based on this calendar that you are the father?
Yes, ma'am. Ain't no way I can be the father at all.
I may not be an OBGYN.
Yes, ma'am.
I was pretty. I'm counting back and I'm saying 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I land in July.
Mr. Black then said it was just a one-time thing for him, purely sexual. The courtroom gasped. He said he wouldn't claim responsibility for a child he didn't believe was his.
I didn't give him the name. She gave him the name. I didn't agree to anything. She put my name on a hospital birth certificate. She gave him my name. I'm just doubtful all over, Your Honor. I mean, all I really wanted to do in the beginning was have sex anyway. Thing that happened and a baby came out of it, which is a blessing, but I'm not trying to sit here and be pinned for somebody's other baby.
Mr. Black's mother was called to testify. She was furious that her son would try to disown the baby. She said she believed it was her grandchild and that Mr. Black should step up. The courtroom clapped again.
Your Honor.
Yes.
I'm his mom, and I bring this young lady to court to prove that's his son. I do believe that's my grandson. I raised my son better than that, to be great women.
Miss Black shared her love for the child and said she already had a bond. Mr. Black looked crushed that his mother wasn't on his side. He said he had 3 daughters and this baby looked nothing like them. Only the DNA test can reveal the truth.
Mr. Black, you are the father. Well, there's a saying that mom knows best.
Yes, ma'am, Your Honor.
Feel emotional.
So happy. I knew he was my grandson.
They say hell hath no fury like a woman scorned. Miss Lou is here to prove it.
Luce, you are suing the defendant for $2,716.86 of back child care expenses for your son, Marley.
Yes, Your Honor.
You say there's no need for a paternity test because you're certain he is your baby's father.
Yes, Your Honor.
She claims Mr. Zuniga is the father of her child after a 2-week fling and owes her a backlog of child care expenses. Mr. Zuniga denies it all, saying he's not the father and doesn't owe a cent.
And your son.
For the first 4 months of my son's life, he was there. He stepped up. He was a man. He wanted to be his father. He was excited about everything. And then all fell through. He abandoned us. I had to take care of my son alone, on my own. I had to pay for every little bit of the expenses, all the diapers, all the wipes, every single piece of clothing he needed.
Mr. Zuniga said he never truly felt like the father. He claimed Miss Lou gave in easily and they had sex on the first day. He admitted to buying a crib and some clothes, but said that was the extent of his support.
No idea who he is.
Mr. Zuniga, did you abandon them?
First of all, Your Honor, I didn't feel like I abandoned him. At first, I never really thought the kid was mine. From day one, she seemed easy. We had sex the first day.
So have you helped at all with Marlon?
Yeah.
Any money, any financial support?
According to Mr. Zuniga, they barely knew each other and met through a mutual friend. They had unprotected sex, and he later discovered she wasn't into relationship. Miss Lou insisted she was only with him during that time.
$16.86. Mr. Zuniga, I need to understand your doubt.
First of all, I never really knew her.
Okay, you slept with her, right?
I met her.
Oh, no, answer my
through a
question.
mutual friend.
You
Yeah.
slept with her, right?
Yes.
Did you use protection?
No.
Well, you know her now.
Yes.
Mr. Zuniga also said he thought he was sterile due to past sports injuries. He tried to have kids in 3 long-term relationships with no success. Miss Lou disagreed, saying she had no doubt he was the father.
Mr. Zuniga, do you have any other children?
No, ma'am. I've always thought I was sterile.
You do?
Yes. Putting the long relationships aside and trying to have, kids with them and consulting doctors. I did a lot of sports. I've had a lot of sports-related injuries. I think that might have something to do with it. I've been in at least 3 long-term relationships where I've tried to have children with them.
He added that a woman once told him Miss Lou was cheating with her husband. That man, coincidentally, had red hair and blue eyes just like the baby. Miss Lou admitted to the relationship, said it happened after they broke up.
Until he got off work.
Your Honor, may I add something?
Yes, sir. What would you like to add?
While I was at work, I asked her what she used to do. And she used to tell me she was going to her brother figure house and getting her moped fixed. I mean, that thing's probably still broke right now.
Mr. Zuniga insisted they were only together for 2.5 weeks. He suggested Miss Lou could have been pregnant before they even met. Things got intense when Miss Lou brought out a witness, Mr. Zuniga's mother.
As far as I know, she could have been pregnant before I even got with her.
Why are you young people running around having unprotected sex with people you knew for 2 weeks? Okay, Miss Luce, you worrying me now. Because, no, you're a beautiful young girl, and I don't want you living up to your last name.
Miss Kimberly, his mother, said she loved her son, but submitted photos showing how much the baby resembled him. She claimed her son ran through women like toilet paper and thought Miss Lou was just another fling until the baby arrived.
Mother.
Yes, ma'am.
Explain to the court how you feel about this situation.
I love my son, don't get me wrong. I really honestly love my son, and I would be on my son's side, but his reasonings are crazy to me. What makes you have a baby? Sex. What did they do? Have unprotected sex.
A photo of Mr. Zuniga holding the baby appeared in court. Miss Lou said he gave the child his last name. Mr. Zuniga claimed she did it without his consent. His mother said he was upset he missed the child's birth.
Thank you.
Babies don't look like nobody when they're born.
Right here, we have in the monitor a picture of you holding the baby.
Well, I'm not a jerk, Your Honor. I didn't have a dad.
You agreed to give him your last name.
Yes.
I didn't give him my last name.
This
She
is
did that
important.
on my
Hold on.
name.
Yes,
This is
Ms.
important to
Vertigan,
me.
say what you need to say.
He was so upset we couldn't make it. He was mad.
Mr. Zuniga stated he signed the birth certificate, but Miss Lou lost the paperwork. Then came the lie detector test. It showed Miss Lou had lied about seeing other men during their fling. A DNA test was ordered, and now only the results can reveal the truth.
Been determined by this court, Mr. Zuniga, you are his father.
Oh, thank you, Jesus.
This was almost like a Dickens novella tale of 2 sisters.
Ms. Ganal, you and your sister agree that the man you've known to be your father is denying paternity.
Yes.
Yet you disagree about why you've come to court today. One of you is hoping the DNA test will prove he is your biological father.
Ms. Kira and Miss Gial both claimed Mr. Harden was their father, yet he denied paternity. One sister hoped the DNA would confirm he's their dad, the other hoped he's not.
Why you've always had doubts. So, Ms. Ganal, first, just explain to the court, when's the last time you saw this man?
Mr. Harden actually came to our house in Minnesota and with his 2 sisters.
Miss Kira, with teary eyes, said she longed for Mr. Harden's presence. She recalled watching through school windows, wishing he'd show up for her games. He never did.
I wanted this man so bad in my life. I played basketball, I ran track. All my friends had both mom and dad there. I had my mom. I wanted him to, I watched through my windows and watched raindrops fall, and he wasn't there.
Mr. Harden claimed their mother never allowed him around. He said he always had doubts because she was involved with multiple men. He said the first time he caught her cheating, their oldest daughter was just 6 weeks old.
Mother didn't allow me to come around them at all. There's no way that I would not want to be around my daughters, Your Honor.
You're lying right there.
I asked for a paternity test from day one, and Your Honor, I've always doubted because I used to catch Ms. Gannell.
He admitted he wasn't sure about being the father during the first pregnancy. Their mother had slept with his friends at the time. They broke up and got back together a month later.
That Shanice, your oldest daughter, is yours. What specific thing happened?
They were 9 years old before she said that I was the father.
Well, look, when you found out she was pregnant, did you think the baby was yours?
There was a possibility, Your Honor, but
you only felt there was a possibility?
Yes, because she had slept with 2 of my friends prior to that.
Miss Terry, the mother, testified she was involved with someone else before Mr. Harden. She also claimed Mr. Harden was in another relationship. He agreed there was a chance someone else fathered the first child.
He was their biological father because you had been unfaithful. Were you unfaithful?
I was dealing with somebody prior to us getting together, and like I said, prior to us getting together, he was also in a relationship. And when I first got pregnant, he was excited about it.
Mr. Harden said he never signed any birth certificates or legal documents. Due to a late court appearance, he was ruled the father by default. He said he begged for a DNA test and even filed a petition.
Any documents?
Just like I never signed any parental documents, no birth certificates, nothing. I was issued a court order because I was late for court in the initial court date, and they ruled as default.
He only pushed for the DNA test after child support payments started. The judge asked why he didn't ask the girls directly. He said he was broke and unavailable. Ms. Kira said she'd offered to pay for the test herself. The courtroom applauded.
It's all about the money. The money. You never, when you started paying child support payments, that's when you wanted DNA tests. You didn't have none of this before.
I was garnished from.
So listen,
from
let
day
me
one.
ask you this, Mr. Harden. So you requested a paternity test.
Yes, Your Honor, several times.
You weren't granted one by the court.
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Harden claimed Miss Terry even gave him a number to contact another possible father. She denied it. The judge asked if any other men were ever contacted for support. Miss Terry said no.
Came out of her mouth with
When did she tell you? When did she tell you?
She told me that she wanted me to contact the other fellow that she used to date that may be a possibility. She asked me to give me her number, and she said that basically she doesn't know and they may not be mine, period.
Miss Gial believed Mr. Harden only denied them to avoid back child support. He insisted Miss Terry told him he wasn't the father. He even submitted proof of his payments. Now, only the DNA results can reveal the truth in this tangled family story.
Mr. Harden, you are her father.
I told you. I told you. All these years that you and I have been told you. All these years I told you that was your kid.